friends. It's Sunday. It's been, what, 3 Sundays now?
Too long.
Man, I have missed doing this. We, of course, are just like a few minutes late because Mars and I were catching up backstage. We haven't really, I mean, we've been texting, but we haven't talked face-to-face in like 3 weeks. I'm so glad to be here, being able to chat. I've missed this. I've missed everyone here in the comments.
This. It's a magical thing and a magical moment. And listen, I don't know about you, but 3 weeks without you, without the show, without everybody in the chat, I was a little depressy. I was a little stressy, and I just did not feel the same. Like, this is where we belong, and it's all because of you guys and because of Jen and everything else.
We love you so much. And, you know, I know we talked about it a lot, but Mars was finally able to figure this stuff out and was able to get memberships going. So finally there are memberships to the channel. I know that it's hard to find if like you're watching on mobile, but if you actually go on your computer and you go to the channel page, you can become a member there. Not sure how to do it on mobile, but
so for the price of a comic book, you can subscribe to your favorite comic book ladies and listen to us rant about everything that we talk about. Right now, memberships really are just support. You get some fancy little banners. There's going to be fancy icons that I will be adding soon at some point.
They look cool. From what you showed me, they look cool.
Oh, thank you. Hopefully at some point, there's going to be exclusive emotes and exclusive like little icons that you can start using when you chat with us. Hopefully down the line too, we'll be doing some exclusive stuff, maybe some exclusive chats, live streams, behind the scenes content. But of course, we have to give a shout out to Sheena, aka HKYP420, for being the first ever member of the Casually Comics crew, because that's what we're calling ourselves now. Okay, listen, I'm not good at names. I texted Jen late last night. I was like, we need a fancy name. And all I could come up with, Casually Comics Crew. So right now, that's what we're running with. However,
it's a working title.
It's a working title. I mean, it kind of fits. I kind of
choose Violence Crew.
But if you can think of something better, please drop your ideas, things that you want to see from us in the future with memberships. Because at the end of the day, we couldn't be doing this without you guys.
Seriously. And you know, we think about how much we love doing it, and this is how we're able to do what we love. So thank you so much to everyone. We
also I love Josue coming through with, is our membership price the price of a regular comic price or a stock variant comic price? Listen, we might have to open up more memberships and start using those names, Josue. Listen, you're helping us out here.
We could have a variant. We could have a variant comic book membership.
Think about this. I think you're onto something here.
This is just the beginning. So thank you so much for being here. All right, I'll go ahead and I'll go through a little bit of the chat. So Creating Comics While Black, welcome back, ladies, and Happy New Year. Thank you so much. And then of course, thank you, Josue, for being here. Finally making it to church. Let's go.
Yeah, because you haven't been here a while. You've been busy.
We haven't been here in a while.
We get it. It's fine.
Yeah. And hello to Niall. Thank you for being here. And then Officially Unofficial Geek. Happy Sunday and Happy New Year all. And then Creating Comics While Black. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much. And then to our friend Scott, thank you so much. Buy some comics.
Oh, we will. We will.
We did. We will continue to buy comic books. Thank you for contributing to the Dumb Bitch Money Fund. Let's see here. Too long for sure. This is my favorite Sunday comic show. It's mine too. Nice. I'll drop Berserker and subscribe. That good choice. Good choice.
Yes, very good choice.
You know what we can do? We could probably go ahead and just try to guess what's going on Berserker right now. I bet that there are some there's some nipple blood, maybe there's some titty blood that happened in issue 2.
One and 2. It was a double whammy.
It was. So I'm sure that there are some other blood orifices going on. So, you know, we'll figure that out. Austin, I haven't stopped in a while. I want to wish you a Happy New Year. Thank you. We haven't been here in a while. So thank you for being here.
We have not. Not at all.
Manic23, hey, comic folk. Awesome. Thank you so much. thank you for everyone in the chat. Please keep the comments coming, letting us know Happy New Year, how your year's going. Do you have reading goals? Do you have reading lists by any
Do I have a reading goal? Listen, I always try to set for myself 100 graphic novels a year, which to some people they're like, well, I'm reading 200. And I'm like, listen, pal, let me read at my own pace. I have only ever been able to hit that goal once, and it's when we went into lockdown. So maybe we just need another lockdown and I'll hit my 100 graphic novel reading goal. I definitely already have a stack of books that I would like to read because, as I was telling you backstage, I feel like I did not read anything in December aside from my single issues. I think I read maybe one book outside of my weekly pools, and that was it. So I severely have some catching up to do, and yeah, hopefully. Here's to hoping.
My 2022 reading goal is 1,000 graphic novels.
1,000?
1,000. It's like 2.5 a day. I'm already there. Like I'm already like on pace. So
listen, I'm here saying I would like to read. I would like to read 100 graphic novels, please. And then this bitch comes through and is like, I'm gonna read 1,000.
Listen,
my goal. Okay, hold on. I've got a goal this year. My goal. I may or may not finally read Hoxpox.
You know what? If you finish Hoxpox,
right there.
That would be a win for me. Okay, so
speaking of X-Men though, this morning I was thinking in my dumb goo brain, I kind of want to read some Chris Claremont X-Men, and then I remembered that it's published pre-2007, so I probably won't enjoy it. But a little part of me really wants to try some Chrissy Claremont X-Men. So if you got some recommendations, y'all, put them in the chat, because if you guys get me reading more X-Men content, it means that I can put off reading Hoxpox.
Oh my god. So I kind of like went between, like, what do I want my reading goals to be? And I actually have 2 goals, and this is a lot. It's a lot of reading. It means I don't have a personal life. It means I don't have like a social life. I truly don't have a personality outside of reading comic books. But my goal, 1,000 graphic novels, which is like 2.5 a day, maybe close to 3 some days. Also, to read all of X-Men, at least all of Uncanny X-Men. So there's about 500 and something issues of Uncanny X-Men, and there's 52 weeks. So if I just read 10 issues of X-Men a week, which is like easy peasy.
Easy peasy?
But that's just Uncanny X-Men. That's not all the other stuff too. So that could be part that, I did. In 2020, I did 1,000 graphic novels in 1 month in like July.
You did. It was insane.
It was insane. It was a lot. And that's basically like the trend for all year that it would need to be for me to do 1,000. So it'll truly be, I'm calling 2022 to be read. That's like 2022 be read, get through my whole to be read pile, and you can slowly watch my descent into madness. Maybe that could be a membership perk for the channel. I will do a weekly. Here's my descent into 1,000 graphic novels in 1 year. Descent into madness.
Too much
for $3.99 a month.
Josue wants to know: are you including when new issue arcs end?
No.
Ooh.
So this will also be outside of my Wednesday new comic book reads. This might mean I need to dial back on the single issues that I read. We'll see.
Whew. That is one thing that I feel like in 2021, because, I was very upset with myself that it felt like I didn't read nearly as many graphic novels as I have in previous years. But then I thought, dumb bitch, you do a weekly show where you read sometimes 10, maybe 15 books a week. So part of me, I keep track, like the basic bitch that I am. I keep track on Goodreads, all of the graphic novels that I read, and I have shelves for each year. Part of me wants to create a shelf specifically for single issues, just so that way, maybe at the end of the year, I can feel a little better about myself, that because I only read, 80 or 90 graphic novels, maybe I read 400 single issues and it will make me feel better. So I might have to cushion it out a little bit. We'll see.
I feel like there's also like there could be spreadsheets. Like I've got a spreadsheet ready for my X-Men read as well as my graphic novel read. So
we're so serious about comics, guys. We have spreadsheets.
There's spreadsheets, comic book spreadsheets. For $3.99 a month, you too can also be part of the comics casually. And it's anything but casual. This is very serious and very violent comic book spreadsheets.
Maybe
accounting.
We need to change the show name to from Casually Comics to Seriously Comics.
Seriously deranged comic Sunday chat, y'all. Well, thank you for being here, everyone. Well, what about news? I know that I've seen like just a little bit of news, not too much. Did you watch Hawkeye?
Did I watch
Hawkeye? I know you watched Hawkeye. I know you watched. I'm trying to segue into it.
Did I watch Hawkeye? This is so blasphemous. Yes, I watched Hawkeye, and I've got very conflicting feelings on Hawkeye. I both loved it.
Wow.
I loved it until that last episode, y'all. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. If you haven't seen Hawkeye yet, plug your ears, because I don't know how to do non-spoilers at this point. I have the biggest blabbermouth on the planet. So giving you one more chance. If you have not seen
just
the
mute us Hawkeye, for 30 seconds.
Plug your ears. You might want to look away because you might be able to read my lips on what's coming next. But
read the expressions.
So the finale of Hawkeye gave us confirmation of Kingpin being back in the Marvel Universe. And not only Kingpin, but Daredevil's Netflix, Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin, and all of his goodness. Listen, I'll be honest with y'all. I was drunk as fuck watching the Hawkeye finale. TLDR, my partner had his business Christmas party. Drinks were had. So I was a little drunk by the time we got home. And even in my drunk state, I'm like, I need to watch Hawkeye. Yeah. I need to watch it sober, but I've got a feeling my feelings are the same. I am so upset about the way that my boy was treated. Listen, I don't give a fuck. I do not give... What the hell, Big Willie? Get out of here, Scott. I don't care how comic book accurate it is with, how he ended in the show with his stupid little Hawaiian print shirt with his stupid gold chain.
Like a Tommy Bahama.
That is not my Kingpin, y'all. My Kingpin is dressed in like
classy
black. He's classy as shit. He'll make me an omelet in the morning with really great music playing. And listen, I'm in the process of rewatching Daredevil. So right now I am peak Kingpin. I am peak Kingpin simp mode right now. Okay, y'all. Peak Kingpin simp. So seeing how childish and how they Disney-fied my boy, I'm a little upset because my Kingpin will kill a man with a car door. Just saying.
I feel like that's what I love about like I'm not a Kingpin simp like you are. You can have him to yourself. But when it comes to Kingpin, one of the things that I love about his character is like how deeply emotional Kingpin is. Like he is driven.
I love that he's a soft, sensitive boy, and that all of his. Listen, Kingpin has done. Okay, we're basically done talking about Hawkeye. I feel like I should put a comment. Yeah. Hawkeye, so that way poor host Way can come off of mute. Mm-hmm. So Kingpin and Daredevil did nothing wrong. I'm sorry. I'm gonna come out and say it. He did nothing wrong. He did everything for love. Okay. And if my partner is listening, I want to be loved the way that Kingpin loves Vanessa. Okay. Yeah. I want to be loved. I mean, I basically already am. So thank you. But that's my whole favorite. I think that's why I have become a Kingpin simp. And I know that that's not how he is in the comics, but I feel like a little bit. Yeah. That's how I love him. But Hawkeye, I mean, it was great for what it was. I absolutely love Kate Bishop. She's perfect. I just feel like that last episode, because you could tell that this is where they stopped taking inspiration from Matt Fraction and David Asia's run in that finale. And I feel like that's where it was the weakest. So that's basically all about Hawkeye.
One of the things that I think that I really liked about it is that it did draw inspiration from the comic book, and even the owner of my comic shop, who has two youngish children, like maybe in that like tween age, like before teen age, but Katie said that her daughter really started to like Hawkeye. And like that's helping her get more into comic books. I'm pretty sure her kids are like into comic books, but that really like fell in love with Hawkeye. So I really hope that this really just, please, Disney, just get kids into comic books for me, please and thank you.
Yeah, and that's the most important part.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting kids into comics and Disney and other stuff, I'm gonna be very brief about this. Spider-Man No Way Home. Did you see it? I've lost Jennifer, guys. Spider-Man No Way Home was so good that it broke Jennifer. Or it broke me. I don't know. Oh, no.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. I think my Wi-Fi went away there for a little bit, but I did end up braving the theater. I did go ahead and see Spider-Man No Way Home. It was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen it already, it was a really great movie.
Greatest movie I have ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, wow.
I don't listen. I'm a preface this when I say this.
That's a superlative.
I'm gonna preface this when I say this. I don't give a shit about Spider-Man. I've never really cared for Spider-Man. I'm sure he's a great guy. I never really cared about Spider-Man, but this movie made me feel some type of way, and I'm trying to be very vague because there's a lot of big stuff in it. And I know not everybody can get to a theater right now. I'm just going to say that if you have not seen this movie, I need you to see this movie because it changed my life, and it is still all that I can think about. And it's not a spoiler because we all know he's in it, but William Dafoe. Can we just... William Dafoe. I love William Dafoe.
And his character and the way, so like this is going to get a little bit spoilery, and it's not going to be like anything that you may not know. So 30 seconds for spoilers. So basically William Dafoe comes back, kind of like reprises his role as Green Goblin. They're basically like going into these other multiverses, going into the other Spider-Man movies, and like wrapping it all with a bow. William Dafoe's character comes back as Green Goblin, but like not just terrifying, but the way that he has this conversation about like mental health and like what it's like he doesn't know where he is, and he doesn't know where like he begins and Green Goblin ends, and like it's so good, and I feel like it was so aware of itself. I did have to step out of I had to like go to the bathroom as an old person does in the middle of the movie, but I was really waiting for a moment where all the Spider-Mans were like doing this and like doing the meme. I don't remember that part. I don't know. They
did it several times.
That must have been like the moment I stepped out of the theater, because anyways, I really loved it. I thought it was really fun.
John is calling me out, and John is calling me out. It's fine. It's cool. Yeah. It's cool. But I simp over both of these people for very different reasons. I simp over Kingpin because I genuinely have an attraction at this point to Kingpin. Maybe not physically, but in personality, I'm very attracted. Green Goblin, and more specifically William Dafoe Green Goblin, I love just because he's a fucking meme. Okay, I love that he is the meme king. And I don't know if any of y'all saw for my Instagram story, but on Christmas, my brother snuck up to our Christmas tree in the middle of the night and replaced our Christmas tree topper with a lovely Green Goblin mask. And it was probably the best day of my whole life. So, yeah.
Definitely, you have a type, and it's Scumbag Boyfriend Army.
It's Scumbag Boyfriend Army. Kingpin, I would definitely add to the Scumbag Boyfriend Army. Green Goblin, not so much, because like I said, I love him for the memes, not for the scumbag.
Okay, so it's kind of like, so if I'm hearing this correctly, it sounds like there's like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like there is like a fuck, marry, kill situation going on.
There is definitely a fuck, marry, kill situation. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. 100%. So the last really, I mean, I feel like all of our quote unquote news, because I'm gonna be honest, I blacked out for 3 weeks and didn't know what was going on. I just kind of woke up and was like, look at all of these comics. I will get back to you on that. I have to think about that. That's
let's go ahead and do a whole show on like who's our sinister sexy six.
But last order of business before we jump into all the wonderful comics that we have. Book of Boba came out this week. I know you are not a huge Star Wars fan at all. Did you get a chance to watch it?
Okay, so here's the thing, is that I've only watched the first 30 seconds, and the reason why is because
it was bad.
About 10 years ago, there was an episode of Parks and Recreation where Patton Oswalt is on it, and he is being a complete nerd, as Patton Oswalt does. And so then Patton Oswalt like is in front of like a court or something, and he's like
he has to filibuster.
He has to filibuster, and so he's explaining how he would want to see like Star Wars and Boba Fett come back into like the Star Wars universe. And so he's describing, he's like, okay, so you see like the sand, and you see a hand,
you see the Sarlacc
come out of the Sarlacc pit, and then out of it you see the Mandalorian, Boba Fett, drag himself out. So I've only seen a clip of Patton Oswalt narrating that.
I love that it's literally shot for shot what he said in Parks and Rec. I'm pretty sure whoever directed that episode was like, we need to we'll figure it out and how it's incorporated later, but we need that. So Book of Boba, I thought, being the Star Wars super fan I am, I thought it was a fucking mess. I did not enjoy it at all. I thought that it was very ugly. I thought that it was very unnecessary. A lot of the CGI is really, really bad. A lot of the character designing and costuming was really, really cheesy. And that kind of baffles me because we got The Mandalorian, which looked better than Rise of Skywalker, which was the final Star Wars movie. And I thought that was hilarious. But this, it's like, what is going on? You know,
they had budget cuts at Disney.
I don't know. They must have had budget cuts, but there's a scene where we get Twi'leks, which are these very sexy, very, voluptuous, not voluptuous, but very sexy, alien race in Star Wars, and they're known for it. And apparently we have a main character that's played by Jennifer Beal, which apparently is the girl from fucking Maniac. And she shows up and I'm like, why is your skin color the same as it is normally? Because being the Star Wars super nerd that I am, I know that Twi'leks come in yellow, green, blue, red, white. They don't come in skin tone. Do you want to know why I know this?
Because why do you know this?
Star Wars taught me this. So my whole thing is we're having another Jennifer Lawrence Mystique situation where it seems like somebody didn't want to sit in makeup for too long. So instead they just threw a headpiece on her and called it a day. So, am I going to continue to watch Boba Fett because I'm a Star Wars super fan? Probably. Am I going to bitch about it the whole time? Probably. So
I'm not going to lie, listening to your review of Boba Fett, Book of Boba Fett, I can't think of Boba Fett without thinking of boba tea, and I've had boba tea all of twice, and I hated every moment of it. So anyways, I'm, like I've said, I'm not a bit huge Star Wars fan. I know of it. Of course, I've watched every single movie and like most of the stuff that I can like stand to consume from it. I feel like I'm going to try to watch it just to like see if I can enjoy it, and I feel like my expectations of it are going to be so low. Maybe I'll come out the other side enjoying it. And hello to Rod.
So hear me out as I'm sitting there watching it, because I watched it with my grandmother, as I do with tradition. I looked at her at one point and I was like, this feels like Dune 2.0. So maybe you will like it. Maybe you will like it.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
I will be right back. I will be right back because I need to get something really quick. Hold on.
She's gonna go and watch it, and she's gonna be like, Mars, this is not Dune. Just because there is sand and just because there is a worm, that does not make this Dune. So take that as you will, friends and families. As Jen is grabbing whatever it is that she needs, Put in the chat what books you want us to start off with, because we're getting ready to do that time, or it's ready to be that time where we talk about comics. So let us know, Marvel, Indie, DC, what do you want to hear us talk about first?
I have a bone to pick.
Uh-oh.
Because apparently the only way to get me to read something that I don't want to read is to basically say it's inspired by Dune. That's it. That's it. Just be like, it's inspired by Dune. And I'll be like, okay, gotta read it. I'll go ahead and I will do it. So, Mars, you texted me the other day and you're like, yeah, so apparently Tom King read Dune for inspiration.
That's
and
what
I'm like,
he said.
And I was like, okay, I read the first like 2 issues and I just know that I don't like Tom King in single issues. Maybe eventually I'll read Strange Adventures. My dumbass picked this up, read it. It is not
Dune. No Dune.
I mean, I get it because like the Pix, am I pronouncing that correctly? The Pix.
Oh, I have no idea. I need to catch up on that series.
You made me read this whole ass book, and
I did not make you read. I just said, by the way,
you made me read it. You knew what you were doing.
For Strange Adventures. Was it a good book? Did you enjoy it? No.
Okay, here's the thing. It's not that the story's not bad, because like there's parts of this book that are really good, but there's also like moments of this book where I'm just like, where the fuck am I? Like for the first half of the book, it's like nothing happens. Everything happens, but nothing happens. Like we know the exact same amount of things that we know in the first part of this book that we do in the halfway point. Granted, like things kind of go, 0 to 100, I guess. Like, anyways, it ain't Dune. This should count as 2 books. This should count as me reading 2 books, if not 3, because this is 12 whole ass issues. 12 issues.
Was that the first thing you read for 2022?
Yes.
I love it. You're off to a great start, kid. Anyway, let's talk about comics that we read.
So I read this book called Strange Adventures.
Before Jen kills me. So what do we want to talk? So after being away for 3 weeks, this is my stack. Jen, what does your stack look like?
Okay, I'm just gonna say some of this is variants. One of these is 1 or 2 are from like a week or so before. But the books that I read, anyways. It's a lot. How many do you think it is? It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Okay, this is mostly it.
And that's just what she read, folks. It's not including what
like I said,
bought.
This is what I read and or bagged, because some of these are variant covers, okay? So these are the books that I read. The books that I didn't read or didn't bag, like I read Catwoman Lonely City. I just haven't bagged it yet because it's one of the stupid magazine ones. But then what I have not read over the last couple of weeks is this.
Ooh.
Oh, sorry, there's a couple more. Because I didn't read Daisy #2.
So where should we start?
Does anyone want us to start with DC? Should we start with Marvel? Should we start with Indies? What do you all want us to talk about? Because there's a lot.
Also, Josue has a question, and their question is, does an omnibus count as one book in your massive reading stack?
I feel like it shouldn't. I feel like it should count as at least 2 or 3, because normally like an omnibus has like if I was going to read the whole like thing of Saga, to me that's 9 volumes. Like even though it's 1 book, that's still 9 volumes. Mm-hmm. So maybe I need to reevaluate like my math for all of this, because I could end up shortchanging myself and end up doing a lot more work.
Probably. Also, the crowd has spoken and they would like us to start with Indies first.
Excellent. Let's start with Indies. However, I was a bad person, and I haven't sorted all of them. So give me a few moments while we sort some stuff, unless there's like one that you're like, okay, let me go ahead and start.
Well, while you sort, I can kind of show this off. So while it wasn't new per se, it finally came in. And that is What's the Furthest Place from Here, Volume 1, with the exclusive record. So this, every issue of What's the Furthest Place from Here, because it is a comic that is not based on music, but music plays a big role into it.
Deeply inspired by?
Deeply inspired by. But each individual issue comes with a exclusive record. There's the option to buy the variant with the record. And they're really cool. Like, it's got this like really cool translucent yellow. It's really awesome. I had this pre-ordered months ago when they first announced it. And I told myself I was only going to buy the first issue because $14.99 a month is a lot. However, it took 2 months for it to come in. And now they're sold out. And the first one alone, I think, is going for like $100. So I'm feeling really great that, you know, I pre-ordered it and, you know, only paid $15. That being said, I still haven't listened to it yet. And I really, really want to, because I bought this with the intention of listening to it. Because I don't think it's like songs made specifically for it. I think it's just like smaller indie bands. Because Matt Rosenberg deals a lot with like small indie bands, and small punk bands. And I think he just got their permission to put it on a vinyl, but very excited that came
But you had read that digitally.
I had read it digitally, but it's on my pull list right now. So,
so you're what? It's 2 issues in now?
2 issues in right now. So, and I'm just, it's not my favorite thing that the creative team has done, or definitely my favorite thing that Matthew Rosenberg has done, period. I'm just a sucker for Matthew Rosenberg and Tyler Boss teaming up because they work very, very well together. And I feel like they have a unique style that is not easily replicated in comics.
I have a hashtag hear me out. I have maybe an unpopular opinion, and this may seem very contrary to like all the other opinions we've ever discussed on the show. I feel like I'm getting, and maybe it's just going through the apocalypse year that was 2020, rolling into apocalypse year 2021, and you know, I'm not going to say that 2022 is going to be different, but I'm almost feeling like I'm getting apocalypse story fatigue. And like, I've read apocalyptic stories, you know, for a while. I really like it. I think that originally in 2020, there were a couple books that I was like, oh, it's a story featured in like post-apocalyptic world. I didn't think that I'd like this, but I really do. But I feel like I'm getting a little bit fatigued with it. That being said, No One Left to Fight, or sorry, not No One Left to Fight. Oh my God. What's the Furthest Place from Here? And Radio Apocalypse came out the same week.
Or within a month of each other.
Within like the 2 weeks of one another. And I feel like a lot of it is blurring in my brain because both of them are kind of related to music. And they're both deal with like these post-apocalyptic things. And I love both of the writers. So it's really, really weird to have like 2 creative teams that I really love writing kind of similar-ish books.
Very similar stories. And it's unfortunate that it's happening that way because I know with What's the Furthest Place from Here, this is a book that's been in the works for like 3-4 years now. But I know more specifically with Radio Apocalypse, that was originally solicited to come out in like May. So I'm sure that the initial plan was to have that come out, have that be completely done, and then we could go into What's the Furthest Place from Here. So I agree with those kind of overlapping one another. It does kind of get lost. That being said, I love both books. Maybe Radio Apocalypse more so than What's the Furthest Place from Here, but I really do. I'm enjoying both of them, and I can't wait for the second issue of Radio Apocalypse.
I would say that with Radio Apocalypse, I do appreciate everything that Ram V writes is completely different, but like has the same spirit. Where the creative team with What's the Furthest Place from Here, it's all of it feels very, I don't know. Anyways,
let's talk about the books. Oh my God, your stack is so much bigger than mine. All right, you can go first because I have a tiny stack here.
I don't even know how to go first. Okay, so I'll go ahead and this was a one-shot that came out this past week, and it was Dune, Whisper of Caladan Seas, because we've got to talk about Dune. Whisper of Caladan Seas. Apparently, this was one of the first like short stories that Frank Herbert had written with his son, I guess. Anyways, it's during the Battle of Arakeen, and it's pretty good. It's basically like a soldier giving his dying nephew or someone a pep talk while he's dying during the battle, and being like, we're on this like shitty ass desert planet, but let's think about Dune, or let's think about Caladan and think about the waters of Caladan. So he's like narrating that while the kid's dying. So it's actually really beautiful. So Dune, read Dune if you haven't already.
Read Dune.
Another one that I really, really loved. I don't think that you read this one, but Ice Cream Man.
I read it by trade, but it's been a long, long time.
So, man, each single issue, like, I feel like just keeps getting better. Like, we got, the last one was the Family Tree one. This one is inspired by Franz Kafka's The Metamorphosis. So it basically, like, where someone, this guy wakes up as a bug, and it's supposed to be like an allegory for, I don't know, classism or something. I really, anyways, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. This book is just, it's so good, and it talks about life, and it's scary, but it's literally talking about life and how scary life is. And Ice Cream Man is just incredible and beautiful. So what books do you have?
Book that I have, I'm just gonna pull this one because I kind of want to talk about it. We got the return of Stray Dogs, Dog Days. This, I originally thought this was a one-shot, but it seems like it's going to be a twofer. Yeah. I have some good and some bad about this book. Good because it's more Stray Dogs. I love Stray Dogs. It's definitely like top 10 for me for 2021 books. One of my favorites, absolutely. So Stray Dogs, it's supposed to be 6 smaller stories, and it basically tells you the backstory of the dogs that we saw on Stray Dogs. So we get to see Imogene, we get to see Gucci, we get to see other Henry. And listen, I like that. I wanted to know more about the other dogs instead of just Sophie. That is something that I felt like the initial story was sort of missing. And I really like how it's presented here because, it seems very happy, but then usually within the last couple panels, it starts to get a little sinister, and like you can point things out in the background that kind of freaks you out. That being said, I wish that this had either come out inside of the initial Stray Dogs.
A background.
Like maybe if Stray Dogs was 6 issues instead of 5 or even 7 issues, and we had maybe one oversized issue like smack dab in the middle, kind of giving us the backstory, or 2 issues like how it's doing it here with, the 6 and 6, I'm assuming. Yeah. I would have liked to see that more, because the thing about this that gets me is Stray Dogs is already released in terms of its trade.
Yeah, and it's done. Like it wasn't. Yeah.
How is this going to be collected? Because it's just 2 issues. They're not going to do, more than likely, they're not going to do a trade. The only thing that I can think of is they are going to do a deluxe Stray Dogs trade, in which case I will be very, very upset because I already own the Stray Dogs trade and I don't want to buy it again. Yeah. I just, like I said, I really like this. And I think if you're a fan of Stray Dogs, if you've already read the book, definitely read it. But I feel like it gets lost a little bit because it's been so many months since Stray Dogs ended.
I would hate for someone who had missed out on reading Stray Dogs, like single issues, or even like maybe hasn't read the trade and was like, oh, Stray Dogs, I hear a lot about that, and then pick this up, not knowing what they're picking up, and then reading it and being like, what the fuck did I just read? So you're right. Maybe they'll do like a smaller, like Stray Dogs. Maybe it'll be like, I don't know, $7.99 or $8.99 for just the collected 2 issues. Maybe. But I do agree. I wish that these stories were included in the single issues already.
Because it is definitely something we needed. We needed to know more about.
I needed more, but I think it would have felt right while reading them. But
we did see at least. I'm trying to think, because in the Stray Dogs trade, we didn't see a backstory for Rusty, which is one that I feel like we really needed to see. I think that the only backstories we got were really for Earl, for Sophie, and then for what's the Dalmatian's name?
I don't remember.
We saw backstories for, select dogs, so there is definitely a way to incorporate it. I don't know. That being said, I want more Stray Dogs. I see Josue in the chat being like, Imogene broke my heart. I'm gonna be honest with you. Other Henry's story broke my heart with the cat. I fucking bawled like a bee. I love this series so much. I know it feels like I'm railing it right now. But
tell me why you hate this book so much.
Tell me why you hate dogs.
Yeah.
You hate dogs.
I do think that obviously Stray Dogs was probably pitched to Image as it's going to be this like 5-issue series. 5-issue series. It's going to be like one and done. But it was so popular. I don't think that, and I think part of the popularity was that because originally when we got Stray Dogs, it was literally pitched to us as it's going to be Silence of the Lambs, but with puppies, like with Don Bluth, and I don't feel like it was like that at all. Or like Lady and the Tramp meets Silence of the Lambs. That's how it was pitched, and I don't feel like it really hit that, but it kind of did. And so I think that it was so successful. So much of the success did come from all of the really cool variant covers that they ended up doing. Like, even if it was a horror movie that I didn't really love, I'm like, I still need that variant cover just for like the cool, And so I think that they have something going and they're like, shit, we need to capitalize on it even more. How do we do that?
Yeah, because it was Image's biggest comic of 2021.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we got more stuff like this, and if they did Stray Cats, or if they did like maybe they go the way of like Ice Cream Man or Silver Coin, like they do an anthology series. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's going to be interesting to see what 2022 brings in terms of comics, because we saw from 2020 Something is Killing the Children exploded on the scene.
Yeah.
Then it felt like all of 2021, it was a lot of other publishers trying to replicate that same feeling, that same style. It felt like everything we had solicited to us was for fans of Something is Killing the Children, or, it's the new Something is Killing the Children. So it would not surprise me, because Stray Dogs, I feel like, was the biggest comic book of 2020. If we see that more, 2021. If we see that more in 2022, which I'm all for, because I've already said that I really like when animals are given personality and given human emotions. We see books like, Animosity. We've seen books recently like Animal Castle. So I'll take more of it.
100%. One of the books I know, I can't remember if you said that you read it or not. Speaking of like anthropomorphized animals, Good Boy.
I did not have this on my pool, but when I walked into the shop and I saw it sitting on the shelf, I had to pick it up.
Yep. And for those of you who don't know what this book is, issue 2 came out this last week. And it's about basically, what if it was not like a reverse John Wick, but what if the dog from John Wick went
it's a reverse John Wick. It's what if the human died and the dog went after them.
And there's even there's a cute moment in here where the dog has to go to like a tailor. So there's like these moments of like extreme violence and like being very tense, and then just going to a moment like that where like they go to the tailor, and I forget what's said, but there's just like kind of a really cute moment where he's like, I need like my regular or something, like, I don't know, I forget what it was, but it's really cute.
I really, really like this book. This feels like a book that I would pick up in Artist Alley, or that I would Kickstart, which this was a Kickstarter book. This was a Kickstarter book, and it's a lot of fun. It's very simple, and that's good. So it reminds me a lot of Cinnamon, which we also really liked from Behemoth Comics. The only difference is, Cinnamon is a cat, Good Boy is a dog. Cinnamon's a little bit more comical.
It is, and it's more of like, what if the cat, like, if your cat's like running around in circles or like just doing weird stuff, it's like, I wonder what Kitty's thinking right now. What goes on in that beautiful dumb head of theirs? Where this one is like, it's literally like the world that this dog is living in. Like, it's
But Good Boy, it's really simple. I really, really like the art style on this. I love seeing all of the different types of dogs and different roles. Like, I love the fact that the tailor for, Dogwick's suit is like a little Pomeranian with glasses. I'm like, oh, this is so
adorable.
Cute. It's really simple. If you happen to see this on your comic shelf, I definitely say pick it up. If you're a fan of John Wick, you'll, I think, appreciate it even more. I personally have never seen John Wick.
What?
Okay, that's a lie. I started to watch the first like 20 minutes of it, and then I fell asleep. But to be fair, it's because we started it at like 11:30 at night, so I was already like,
I'm already in bed.
To go to bed. I was already ready to go to bed. I have all 3 DVDs. I just haven't watched them yet.
It's good. It's good. And of course, Keanu Reeves just plays that really great like character. That's, he's got a heart of gold, but he's been through stuff. And anyways, one of the books that I just continue to really enjoy, and I think I have 2 issues here. So I've got issue 2 and 3. Have you read Chicken Devil? Have you been keeping up with this?
I read Chicken Devil 2 when it came out, and you didn't.
I know. I finally, I don't know what happened, but my shop ended up getting it this past week. So I got issue 2 and 3.
Also, I just have to give a huge shout out to Sleepy Reader 666. Thank you so much for the amazing super chat. I don't know if y'all guys can see when y'all do super chats or memberships or just anything. My facial expression will just be like. So if y'all want to see more dumb faces, that's the way to do it. So basically what I'm saying is if you plan on doing a super chat or something, don't do it when we're backstage because you're missing out on half of the fun. Like, I'm going to be honest with y'all. Y'all are missing out on half of the fun. But honestly, thank you so much for the support. We really, really appreciate it. But Chicken Devil, number 3. I did not know it came out. I wish I knew. I would have read it.
It was good. I feel like we get a little bit more, like, it's weird and it's zany, and I feel like because the character owns a chain of spicy chicken shops, and I feel like it deals a lot with like the family kind of like not believing in his mission, but it's very self-aware. It's really, really fantastic.
Now I want a spicy chicken sandwich.
Ooh, me too. I was going to get donuts today, but the donut shop I was going to go to was closed. So maybe I'll substitute spicy chicken for a donut. There
you go. Spicy chicken on a donut.
Ooh.
There you go. Didn't KFC do something? KFC did something similar, didn't they?
That sounds like something KFC
they would do.
Yeah.
So books we have a finale of a series that I think you were reading. Correct me if I'm wrong. Eat the Rich, number 5. I wanted so much more from this book.
Same.
Listen, don't get me wrong. I love the fact that they're gay and shit, and I like the fact that they're like, we're gonna literally.
Spoiler alert! It gets real gay.
It gets real gay, and spoiler alert, they eat the rich. But this ending just felt way too safe for me. It felt way too predictable. Yeah. We talked about it with issue 3, where we thought there was going to be a turning point, where we thought that her partner Aster was going to be like you're going down the wrong path and I need to help you break it, and it didn't. That being said,
finally happened kind of in this issue,
but he ended up still just being a douche.
Yeah.
And he ended up still just being part of the bad guy and being part of the family, which I kind of hate it. And I feel like we lost some of the characterization with, his mother. And I don't know what I expected, but I wanted way more. That being said, if anybody wants a really quick, not lighthearted, but a very quick and easy horror read, I would still highly recommend it. But if you've seen the movie Ready or Not, you basically know how this is going to end.
I would say that if I had like the story that I would have preferred, and I don't get that, you know, because the writer chose to do what the writer did, right? But what I would say is the story that I would have wanted to have read was what happened in issue 5, where they finally the poor people turn against the rich people. Happens in issue 5, which is the last issue. I wanted that to be issue 1. So in this story, in issue 1, this, you know, not rich person is dating a rich person, and he takes his girlfriend to meet his rich family, where she finds out they eat the poor people who are in service to them, but there's an agreement. They basically get paid really well during their lifetime to help support their family, and then in turn the rich get to eat them because this has been going on for a really long time and they need to feed on rich people. There is a whole It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode about, like, you know, you can't eat people. Anyways, human meat. So anyways, I really wanted this issue because it gets really gay and really queer in the 4th issue, and then this issue, I wanted that to be the whole damn series, not happen at the end. So
yeah,
that's just I still really loved this though, and you're right. I think that this is still a good read.
I do.
Yeah.
What else did you read in terms of indie books? Oh God, I only have 3, okay. So take the floor.
Okay, if you've read any of these, then just go ahead and so anyways, this one was from a couple weeks ago, but it's called The Last Session. It was really, really good. If you like D&D and you are a millennial / Gen Zer, I think that you'll really like identify with this book. It was really, really cute. It's queer, and I'm really surprised that it was Mad Cave, because I thought that this was like Oni or something like that.
It does. It feels like it could be an Oni title.
I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I'm definitely going to be picking. There's a lot of really cool variant covers for this too. This was the only one that my shop had left when I picked it up. So excited to read more of that.
Elevator pitches The Last Session by Mad Cave is literally Die, but what if it was gay and lighthearted?
100%. Like, I was reading it and I'm like, gay? What if it was so much queer? And also, what if it was less depressing? Because Die is definitely pretty gosh darn depressing.
I love it. It's definitely, I mean, we always talk about Mad Cave and how much we love some of the books they put out, but since Stargazer, I felt like nothing's been able to hit the level for me, and I feel like Last Session has.
Terminal Punks did it for me as well. I don't know if you kept up with that series, but that was one of my favorite series that year. I think 2020. Anyways, I don't know if you've been keeping up, but I kind of like binge read a lot of Witchblood. I'm still mildly enjoying this. I really want, like, I think the first trade came out. Did it?
No, there's only one more issue. I think it's just going to be one big trade.
I really want to read it all at all together, because I ended up reading issues 7, 8, and 9, and it's good, but I want to read it all at once. So Witchblood, it's fun, but I need it to wrap up. Let me see here. Did you read this one? Did you read Maw?
No, so we talked about that when the first issue dropped. I personally was very uncomfortable by it. You decided to brave out issue 2. Really liked how issue 2 went. So I'm taking your word on that, and I will eventually pick it up by trade. But how was issue 3?
This one's issue 4.
Oh, issue 4. I'm way off the track. Whoops.
So in this book, the reason, Maw is basically about are they sisters? I think that they're sisters, or maybe they're just really good friends, but they end up going to this like women's retreat, and this women's retreat is all about like women's empowerment, and we're gonna reclaim women's power, and it's going to be like under this guise of like paganism and like new and old what am I trying to say, like pagan rituals and Wiccan rituals and things like that. But it also, the main character faces sexual trauma, and that part made me feel really uncomfortable, and it's used as a plot device for her to kind of get revenge. I feel like she's finally getting revenge in this book, and there are moments in this book that like made me cry a little bit, and I think that not that any book ever handles those situations well, especially when it feels like they're using rape or sexual trauma or anything like that as a plot device. But I feel like there's moments in this book that were really, really sensitive, but did it in a right way. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does. And like I said, it's one of those books where the more and more you talk about it, the more I feel comfortable reading it. It's just a shame that I'm A, cutting down on the single issues I'm reading, and B, trade weighting a lot. So it's definitely on the list of things that I need to be reading.
Yeah. 100% would recommend. I would recommend picking this up, but I would definitely put a very, very large trigger warning on it. And
so very similar to another book we read this year, Low Woods.
Yeah, I feel, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because when I was reading this issue, it reminded me of Low Woods, where in Low Woods, there is, they kind of talk about sexual trauma, but they talk about it very much outside of it and don't like name it. Mm-hmm. Here it is named, here it is used, and it's like, it's very in your face.
Yeah.
Where in Low Woods, it's not as much. But I really want, it talks about like how society creates people who are monsters, but doesn't realize how society creates those monsters, and then pushes them to the side, where the monster in this book is literally like out to get people, and I really just want the monster to kill everyone.
I agree. And I'm not even reading it.
I'm very pro monster.
But I say good for her.
Good for her. It's a very good for her moment.
It's a very good for her book.
One of the other books, this one came out a couple weeks ago, and it was the final issue of the series. I really enjoy this author for the most part. However, this story was one of the most confusing fucking stories I've ever read in my life. Decorum finally ended. It was stupid. It was probably this is the last issue. I don't feel like it ever got to the point. I would not recommend anyone reading this book. That's how much I did not like this book.
And that's her king right there. That's Jonathan Hickman. That's a thing.
I did not like this book. Decorum was not fun. It to me, it felt like it tried to do the Tom King thing, where like there's like multiple storylines going on, but there's not. This book tried to, it was very pretentious. This book's smug aura mocked me.
Wait a second. No, Jonathan Hickman?
Yeah, surprise.
Have you ever read Hawkspox or anything?
No, I haven't.
And been hit with
who's X-Men? I don't know who that X-Man is.
That's not pretentious.
This book was all the literally like, so this book started to come out in early 2020 or sometime in 2020. It was not good. I didn't get to the point. It was confusing. I'm sorry if I recommended anyone to read anything by Jonathan Hickman.
You seem to be the minority in this right now, because
oh my God,
Sway really liked the ending. Manic 23 really liked Decorum.
I'm so sorry.
However, Scott's coming in with the clutch. Hickman, smug, and pretentious. Nah, thank you, Scott. Appreciate you.
Well, if you liked this book, then come at me. We'll fight. And you'll probably win, and then you can just get all my copies of this book, because I've bought every single issue of that book, and not worth it. And probably some variant covers too.
Way to go. Also, I'm being called out again. And listen, actually, wait, we never talked about that. So let's take a quick intermission. So I'm still in awe about it. And if John's still here, that would be great. Yeah. So 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, however long ago it was, we had
our last show together before we kind of.
It was our last show together. We were both on John's Comics with Kids and his amazing Comic Gory show, which, by the way, y'all, it's the most nerve-wracking thing. Listen, I remember watching Jen the first time she was on, and just being like, Jen, this is so easy. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm here thinking, like, you've got this. As soon as you're in front of that camera, and as soon as that timer starts going, it is terrifying. However, your girl won Comic Gories.
That means you have to go back.
It means I have to go back. However, in winning Comic Gories, I pleaded with the audience, and maybe this is why I won, but I pleaded with the audience that I would read Hawkspox in a single night, which I obviously have lied about. Actually, no, I did. I read Hot Spots. I know exactly how it ends. But I will be returning to Comic Stories to defend my crown. I believe on January 10th. So I'm very, very, very excited to be returning. And John, thank you for not only having me but putting up with my shenanery.
And can I just say, so I surprised you by being like, hey, guess what? We're going to be on Comic Gories tomorrow, head to head against one another. And y'all in the chat, because you vote, y'all in the chat came through. And how many times was it? Like four
different times. It was a tie. And
it was exact tie.
We all know. Y'all didn't want to choose between your comic bombs. We get it. We totally get it. We love each and every one of you. But it was an absolute blast. And I can't wait to be back. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I need to like steal parts of that show and be like, how can we get a mini version of Comic Gories going and like doing it every week? Like, how can we do?
I think we need to have at some point during 2022. I think we should have a special Comic Gories episode ourselves and maybe invite the wonderful John on, because I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
So it was great. I can't wait to be back. But that's our intermission break. Thank you, because Goldfish Brain. I actually forgot it happened. No, I didn't forget it happened, but you know how it is. What else did you read?
Okay. So Black Hammer Reborn, it's issue number 7. If there's a lot going on, it's
Black
really
Hammer.
It's Black Hammer. Just please read it. Let me see here. We Don't Kill Spiders, issue number 3.
Oh, I forgot that was a book. Yeah.
It's pretty good. I really like, who's it? Joseph, I'm going to butcher this name, Schmalke. It's fun and it's weird. Scout Comics Black Caravan imprint. Let's see here. No One Left to Fight is just weird Aubrey Sitterson. Please, I will read anything Aubrey Sitterson does. Beef Bros.
Worst dudes.
Savage Hearts, the worst dudes. Seriously. Love Aubrey Sitterson. Let's see here. Adventure Man by Matt Fraction and the Dodsons. I'm kind of getting tired of this book. I feel like I needed more from it. I might pick it up by trade and stop getting single issues. Let me see here. Echolands, number 5. This book is so weird. And like this one, the artwork style is, of course, you have to like read it, this way. But then like it breaks it up in moments where it's like half and half on top and bottom, which is really weird. But the story is just fantastic. And I feel like this issue very much got very Jack Kirby-esque, which is weird because it's like a post-apocalyptic Red Riding Hood, but then it gets like weird dark fantasy gothic horror and then like weird sci-fi fantasy. It's weird. The last 2 books that I have here. Did you read No Holds Barred?
What is that? I've never even heard of that. What is that published by?
Behemoth. This one was actually really, really good. So there is a murder mystery. Someone kidnapped the Queen of England, and Shakespeare / William something, Bill something, whoever supposedly was the real Shakespeare, basically have to like figure out the mystery. The entire book is told in iambic pentameter, which is 10 syllables. So
that seems too much for me.
It's good. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and open up. And where shall I steer the Shack's coach master? So like each line is 10 syllables. Let's see here. All I need now is privacy to think. Every single line is told in groups of 10 syllables. It's masterful, and I really liked it.
What do I look like I'm in? Fucking high school?
No. I mean, you do look very young, but
that's too big of a brain book for me.
I think if you don't focus on counting the syllables, it's easier to read, but I would recommend reading this as a trade, not single issues.
Okay.
But it's really good. If you're a Shakespeare person, if you like English literature, I would recommend it.
Fair enough.
Okay. Last one that I read. I know that you read it.
Garbage.
I didn't like it. I wanted to like it.
I hated this. So, Hegarty's Will is by Iolanda Zaffardino, who is one half of the creative team behind Alice in Leatherland and A Thing Called Truth. And we really enjoyed both of those books. However, this one, not so much.
It reminded me, so basically this woman is turning 30, right? But then it's set 10 years in the past. Is that what
I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know what happened in this book.
Oh my goodness. So Josue, wow. Sorry that I'm kind of trashing it a little bit, but I felt like the artwork left a lot to desire. Let me see here. So it starts off in, I see here 2011, but then it's 2010, and it's her birthday, and she gets a cake that shows 30 on it. So she's turning 30 10 years ago. I don't know. I feel like
I don't know what happened. I believe that this character is a street artist, but they also moonlight as a costumer for a Broadway production or whatever. It's like Banksy, but not Banksy.
But it's in San Francisco.
But Banksy also wants to retire. The one good thing that I have about this is that it's queer, and there is a character that we see with scars, a trans character with scars, and I really like that, and I really commend that because I feel like I've never seen that in a comic book before, and I think
the reason why is because when a lot of trans characters are like used, it's like the story focuses around their transness, when I think that you can like reveal that a character is trans and not necessarily have it be about like the trauma or, you know, anything like that, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. I mean, and I remember flipping to that page and just being like, I thought that it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. I was like, this is really dope. I really like this. But aside from that, I could care less about this book, and it makes me sad because I picked this up expecting it to be queer, because everything that Iolanda has done is queer, because they are queer, which is great. Love that. Love the representation we got there. And it felt like Black Mass Studio was kind of coming back in its own sort of way, but this felt very amateurish to me. Part of me wants to think that, part of me in the back of my head is like, okay, because Alice in Leatherland was such a success for the publisher and felt like their comeback, they went to Iolanda and was like, hey, you got anything else? And they kind of took something that maybe they had written 5 years ago and just published it, because I feel like there was no marketing for this book.
No,
it was just, it was there, it was here, and it felt very, not rushed, but it feels very amateurish. So
it does. The artwork in it is very basic. I wish that there was either more coloring or more styling or more texture. It does remind me a little bit this last year. Did you end up picking up Destiny New York?
No, I did not, but I remember you reading it.
It was not a bad book, but it just didn't like grab me. And maybe it's just because I read a ton of shit, and like if I'm reading something, I need something to like just grab me. Another Black Mask book, and it feels like Black Mask is publishing the runoff from the other higher up studios. Like it's like stuff is trickling down. Like Image is like, nah, we're not going to publish this. Aftershock is like, we're not going to publish this. And so Black Mask is like, well, we haven't published anything. Let's go ahead and.
Which makes me really upset, because I remember like 5, 6, maybe even 7 years ago, where it used to be for me, you know, in terms of indie comic publishers, Image was at the top. And Black Mask was right on their heels, because at the time they were publishing books like We Can Never Go Home, 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank, which I understand are kind of biased because they're both Matthew Rosenberg books. But they also had Black AF.
Mm-hmm.
You had killer titles.
I have my little Black Mask. They have the Wilds. They have
Space Riders.
Yeah,
You
like
had
I love those.
you had Calexit.
Mhm.
These were heavy hitter books. And then I remember there was kind of studio silence from Black Mass. They were going through some financial troubles here and there, and we didn't hear from them. And then all of a sudden, Alice in Otherland, Black Mask is back. Alice in Otherland is a huge hit. And now you've got books like Destiny NY and Hecate's Will. And it's like you said, the quality just isn't there, which is a shame because Alice in Otherland was really, really good.
It was. So I would say if like you're, you know, I understand not everyone can read everything. I would 100% say read Alice in Leatherland because it's cute, it's fun, the artwork fits it. This one just the artwork didn't do it for me. The story didn't do it for me. So
No,
sorry.
I did not like it at all. I have
That's
two
it
other.
that I have. Oh, that's it that I have for indies.
I have two other indie books that one of them I know we talked about behind the stage that you know you didn't read, and I wish you had. But there's another book I didn't see on your list that I'm like, damn, I kind of wish you had read this book too. So we'll start with the first one. The first one is A King's Vengeance, #1. This is published by Scout Comics. I actually forgot that I had this pre-ordered. Holy shit, I fucking love this book to no end. Like this, I'm actually a little pissed off with myself because, you know, the book ended. I know Scout Comics is very weird with their publishing structures. So I'm like, I really don't want to add this to my pool list, but I loved it that much.
And the reason why, for those of you who don't know, is that Scout Comics will publish a book and then wait 2 or 3 months in order to publish the second issue. I think it's so they get time to maybe sell out of issue 1 before they go to issue 2 or 3. But for me, I end up losing interest. I'm like, is this book ever coming back out? And then I forget about it. And
then it's like, is this book going to come out in trade? So I feel like I'm going to continue to pick this up just because I don't know if it's going to come to trade. That being said, I'm kicking myself in the ass because apparently this was kickstarted, and apparently book 1 is already out if you kickstarted it. So if anybody kickstarted this book and wants to sell me their copy, please do, because I fucking love this book. A King's Vengeance is done entirely by Peter Rick with a Q. I don't know.
Riki.
I don't fucking know, but you're amazing. If you're listening to the stream, you're amazing. I'm trying to like.
Can you like open a page?
Y'all already know how I get when I get really excited over a series. Is I get very I get very. I can't focus, and I just get excited, and I just scream, and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever read in my whole life." So. First of all, I have to preface this with, if you watched Samurai Jack or if you watched Primal, which is another series that the same studio did, please read this book because the way that this book is stylized and presented feels like one of those stories. Like I could see this being animated. King's Vengeance is basically this king has a son who was stolen and became evil, but this kid is like, he's a little kid. He's like 10. And he rides a fucking dinosaur, by the way. I don't know why. I don't fucking care, but he rides a
that would have sold
raptor.
It to me.
That is what sold the book to me when I first pre-ordered it, was he was riding a dinosaur. So he has to basically stop this kid from, you know, taking over and being part of this evil kingdom. He goes to stop him. His troops are like, we can't. We've already sacrificed too much. You're in over your head. It's suicide. He goes anyway. And it's his kid, basically no longer his kid. And he's just this little evil, short-stacked little shit. And he's got magical powers. And he's like, you fool. And I'm just going to fucking say it because it makes the book even cooler. He literally rips off his dad's arms and his dad's legs, making him a little stump. And is like, go ahead, pick up your sword. Try to hit me. And obviously, as a stump, you can't. It's fucking... You can't, it's just impossible. So kid pushes his dad off of a cliff. He falls down a hill. He gets found by this weird like shaman dude. And that's how the book ends. And you're like, what the fuck is happening? What's going on? And the way that, you know, reading the way that this book is apparently we're going to jump 25 years into the future. And it's going to be, you know, so at this point, this little shithead kid is going to be an adult. And he's going to be coming back for revenge against his son. And I'm like, I am here for this 100%. From the art style to the fact that this book is like entirely pink hued. It's so fucking cool. It just feels like It feels like how I felt about Good Boy, where it's like this really cool indie book that you find in indie or artist alley, and it just becomes your new favorite thing. King's Vengeance, if you haven't picked it up, if your shop has it, please pick it up, because this is like my jam.
I am like, I'm not gonna lie, like, you're giving me the review and I hear that the kid rides a dinosaur, and then like in my brain I'm like, yeah, kid riding the dinosaur, and then like my brain kind of went do until you said he rips his father's limbs off.
It's so
I'm gonna read that book.
It's so fucking cool, and it's just I don't want to be this person because I don't watch it and I low-key despise people that do, but in terms of the art style, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like Rick and Morty.
Oh my god, I love Rick and Morty. Did you just say you despise me?
No. Their fan base is weird. That's all I'm gonna say. Have you seen have you seen the Szechuan sauce people? They terrify me.
It is a weird fan base. I will give you that, and especially the I will agree with you there. The fan base is really weird.
You're telling me this little ass kid does not look like he's straight from Rick and Morty. He looks like a Rick and Morty character. I'm just saying. It's good. Read this book. It's really fucking great. It's great. I love it. It's great. So we're gonna go from one book that I really liked.
I was gonna say, what's the next book?
Straight into another book that I'm like bouncing off the walls over because I'm like, holy shit, this was so good. You didn't pick up Cloaked from Dark Horse? So hear me out. # hear me out. This book looks boring and average as fuck, right? Looks boring. Looks like your average cop thing. This is fucking good, all right? This literally takes Batman and is like, what if we dissect the whole Batman thing?
In a way that you could never do with actual Batman.
In a way that you can't do with actual Batman. So Cloaked tells the story of this vigilante superhero guy with guns that, came out of nowhere, started fighting crime, kind of killed people, so he's not a Batman per se, but it's Batman basically. It's Batman with guns. So, he did the thing. He protected people and then he vanished. And for 25 years he's been missing. So we get introduced to a ex-cop turned now private PI, and I'll admit this character is a little boring, but that's fine. And he's basically being tasked by this rich old white dude that, hey, I'm going to give you millions of dollars. I need you to figure out who this person is because he saved my life years ago and now he's disappeared. And now I just need to figure out what's going on. Also, John, I'm adding that to my list. Thank you.
It's no, sorry. Go on.
So he gets tasked with trying to figure out who this person is. And I'm like, okay, I kind of see what you're doing here. It's kind of interesting, but it feels like boring cop stuff. And I don't like boring cop stuff. Well, then
Seen it, heard it all.
Well, then our lead character gets a lead on basically on the Robin of this universe.
Okay.
And they're like, hey, we know his sidekick's name. Go and talk to his sidekick. See if he knows. He's got to know who this guy is. He teamed up with him for years. So he goes and he finds them. And at this point, he's no longer a kid. He's a grown-ass man. And he's like, dude, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know who this guy is. And they're like, what do you mean you don't know who this guy is? He's like, I'm going to be honest. One day I was on the side of the road. He came by, offered me some money, put me in a suit, told me to go to this location where he basically used me as bait. And that's it. He's like, and that happened a couple times, and that was it. And our detective is like, well, there's stories about all of your whimsical adventures. What's going on? And our Robin character is like, yeah, I created those because I needed money. He's like, so I sold them to the press. I sold them to creators. And I kind of invented this fantasy where I didn't know where my real life started. And this fantasy one ended. And it kind of had me going deeper. And it's like, what if? Like, what is going on here? And then it ends on a cliffhanger that I'm like, what is going on here? As somebody who loves superhero comics, who has read superhero comics, who has read a lot of Batman, but also likes to dissect and kind of bash Batman, this felt like a love story kind of to Batman.
Aww.
it kind of felt like a weird love story to Batman, where I'm like, these are the questions I ask. Like, this is what I want to know about the character.
And who published that? That was Dark Horse?
Dark
Okay.
Horse, and it is a 4-issue miniseries. So I don't know if I'm gonna pick up. I know I hate when I say this, where I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna pick up issue 2, but I really, really like this. Like, I finished this, and I'm like, damn, that's a good book, and I kind of want to see where we're gonna go next. So
it sounds like I need to pick that up.
It was a good book.
Okay.
The one thing I will say that I thought was a little weird is the art, and that's because nobody has eyes.
Can you? I'm gonna big screen you if you can. Like, show me a page.
No one has eyes. They're just black holes, and that's it. Nobody has fucking eyes in this book. So I don't know if this is like a Rob Liefeld situation where you don't know how to draw eyes, so you just kind of black them out. Whereas Rob Liefeld doesn't know how to draw feet. But that's the one thing where I'm like, bro, where are their eyes? There's no pupils.
Has anyone ever seen Rob Liefeld's feet? Do we know what Rob Liefeld's feet look like?
Does he have feet? But yeah, this was really good. I really enjoyed this like a lot. So would recommend if you haven't read it already.
Yeah. Okay, so I need to go out and I need to get King's Vengeance published by Scout, and I need to get Cloaked by Dark Horse. Is what you're telling me.
Very good books. Loved both of these very, very much.
Excellent. Well, that's the indie section.
Let's see, indie.
Should we go to DC or Marvel? Chat, let us know. Should we go to DC or Marvel?
I'm gonna warn you, I only read 2 Marvel books over the span of 3 weeks. So if you pick Marvel, prepare to listen to Jen talk for a little while.
You know, I did not pick up that many, and a lot of them were variant covers. So
there's a lot of stuff out. A lot of stuff. Officially Unofficial Geek coming in first with DC. So I feel like I see
Josue saying Marvel first.
Oh, I do. Okay.
I do see a lot. Sorry, I see a lot of but Officially Unofficial wants to hear about Swamp Thing.
Oh, really? Interesting.
You know what? The list for Marvel is so small. Let's blow through Marvel and go to DC. How about that?
Marvel has a big book on its thing, and okay, we'll talk about Marvel.
Okay. Really quick, I'm going to show off some variants because I got a lot of variant covers that I really enjoyed. Let me see here. And a couple of them I didn't read. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and show off a couple of these covers. So I got this cover for, is it Avengers Forever?
Fuck, I forgot.
Go get it.
I can't. I'm trapped.
Oh, okay. Well, I got this one, Peach Momoko cover, because, you know, I love Peach Momoko. I also got... this one was a couple weeks ago, but I got this Hawkeye Kate Bishop Scotty Young cover. That was like from a while back.
Did you pick up issue 2 of that?
No, I didn't like the first issue.
I did not either, and I felt guilty because I'm like, it's Kate Bishop, and she's my favorite.
Yeah.
And I put it back when I was at my shop, and it was not good. Maybe I'll read it, but I did not enjoy the Kate Bishop series. I was very sad by it.
One of the other, this one I just got as a variant cover, didn't read it, but this beautiful. I think that you got the same one. This beautiful Avengers Forever.
I want to buy 4 copies. Listen, yeah. I'm gonna give y'all benefit of the doubt. I tried to read this. I was like, oh, she's on the main cover too, so she's got to be in it, right? Wrong. It's nothing but Ant-Man. I don't care about Ant-Man, so I did not read Avengers Forever #1. Let me know when Scarlet Witch shows up, guys, and I'll read it.
Yeah. Also, Star Wars High Republic is probably the only other thing other than Dr. Aphra that I can stand by Star Wars. So, I got this. This is one of the other variant covers that I got, and I don't know if you got it, but it's Natasha Bustos, She-Hulk.
It's on a list of stuff that I'm eventually going to get when I can find it in a dollar bin. Because I know it will go to a dollar bin at some point. But yeah, listen, y'all, your girl's moving, and I have to cut back severely, and it kills me.
Cut back?
I don't think you understand. I'm dying on the inside. Let me buy more comics.
Did you weren't reading the Kang series, right?
No.
Okay. So Kang the Conqueror issue 5 ended a couple of weeks ago, like maybe 2 weeks ago. And then it ended really well. I really enjoyed the Kang series. I think that if you liked Beta Ray Bill, you would maybe also like this one, but it is different. But basically Kang is going through time, and he ends up putting the whole thing with this series is that like he can't fall in love. Like he's basically telling himself he can't fall in love. He ends up, spoiler alert, ends up putting his love of his life, Ravonna, into a whole bunch of different times and kind of like keeps track of her. It's kind of weird. But anyways, it was kind of a good one. I really enjoyed that. But then Timeless came out. I read this and felt like I had no clue what was going on. So if someone knew what was going on with Timeless, please let me know.
It was a lot. Spine Horror Zine. See, I did it. I caught it. Stable Spine Horror Zine. They really liked it. So
maybe it's because I think that I finished Kang the Conqueror, and then this one it's like he goes to this guy who is a like Kang scholar maybe, or I don't know, professor. Anyways, I think I preferred the ending of Kang to Timeless, but maybe I'll go back and read it. So also this one was done by McKay. Who was this one? Yeah, it was 2 different writers. McKay on this one and then Kelly on this one. Any other books that you have?
I have 2. One I'm saving for last. I lied. I have 3. Moon Knight number 7. I have a sticky note because I read it digitally because somebody gave me a copy. And this is my reminder that I read it. So congrats to me. Moon Knight, I'm dropping it. I have to. It's getting the axe. I am really disappointed by Moon Knight. I feel like that first issue was so great and so solid that maybe if that first issue wasn't as great as it was, maybe I wouldn't be as disappointed with what followed after. But now part of me is wondering, am I actually a Moon Knight fan? Or did I just really, really enjoy Moon Knight by Jeff Lemire and Greg Smallwood? Like, I'm starting to think that because that's the first ever Moon Knight I read, and I fell in love with it, became obsessed with it. I have read a couple different Moon Knight series ever since, and have never been able to connect with the character.
To get that
or
high
get really excited. Yes. Get really excited the way that I have. So in the newest issue of Moon Knight, Moon Knight fights against Zodiac. He gets his ass kicked. He then gets sewed up by the doctor from the first issue. We see him go back into his mind with Khonshu, and he's like, my son, come back to me. But I'm here thinking, you never left. He's always been the son of Khonshu. And it's just, it feels maybe it'll read better when it's in a trade. But right now, it all just feels very disconjointed. It does not feel like one overall story arc. It feels like very small, simple stories that don't connect. And I'm not enjoying it. I'm not having a good time.
Especially the way that like issue 1 was so strong, and then issue 2 of Moon Knight was like, it felt like it jumped, and then issue 3 went back to where issue 1 started. So it did feel a little bit disjointed there. Do you feel like you would read the trade?
Yeah,
like if you
I do. I feel like I would read the trade. Okay. I will say this: I definitely enjoy it more than say the Bemis run that I read, the fucking dumbass Warren Ellis run that I read. It's still not nearly as good as the Lemire run, but I definitely enjoy it more so than other ones that I've read.
One of the other books that I've been reading that I really, really enjoy. Here, let me go to this one. I don't know did you pick up Demon Days Rising Storm?
I did. That's the book that I completely forgot about. And then you flashed the Peach Momoko cover, and I'm like, wait a second, I read that book.
I love what Peach Momoko is doing. I wish that because they're all number 1s, so it's really, really confusing. I wish that they weren't doing that. I wish that it was like, so it's like, are we going to get issue 2s of any of these? So I feel like it's really confusing, and I really wish that it was just like, this one's 1, this one's 2, this one's 3.
Because it is all one big story. It's one big arc, And this issue, I think, was actually one of my favorites out of, aside. Number 1, I really, really liked. 2, 3, I think this is five in quotations. Like, I really enjoyed them, but this one really kind of stuck with me. We get to see Storm, we get to see Thor, we get to see more of the Logan dog. We even get to see Hulk, which I really, really like. And I love the character designs. I think the character designs are great. I want this to be animated and adapted or whatever. Yeah. I personally, it's the same gripe, and I feel like we do the same spiel every time we get a new issue of why is everything called number 1? You're only confusing the mainstream audience, which is a shame because I feel like this is a book that would market really well towards the mainstream audience, especially with how popular manga is right now.
And bridging that gap between people who like manga coming over. And I think Marvel would do it really easily because I think that Marvel's characters are a little bit more recognizable, and especially in this like manga anime type format, I think that mainstream audiences would really, really connect.
I agree. I just personally, I can't wait we have one more final issue. Which is a number 1 once again. So of course we're gonna have the same spiel.
What was it, Rising Blood or something like that?
Why is it number 1? I can't wait until this is compiled into a trade. I feel like once we get this as a trade, it's gonna be one of the most I think it's gonna be one of the most timeless Marvel stories that we have, and it's going to be on a lot of people's top lists. And it will be that book that you recommend to, the girl that walks into the comic shop and is like, I like manga. Okay, well, read this. Or even if you just know characters from the MCU, pick this up. It's a really fun time. So
exactly. I know what your last book is going to be, so I'm going to wait on that because I've got another book, The Thing. Ooh. I love this book so much. I feel like it is so underrated. You know me, I'm not a big Fantastic Four fan, and I feel like anytime I read something that's like Fantastic Four adjacent, but this book is just, it's so good. I really, really enjoy this. Walter Mosley and Tom Riley, Jordi Belair. I really enjoy this, and it makes me care about The Thing.
So it's like your Beta Ray Bill.
Would you compare
it to that? Because the way you talk about Beta Ray Bill, I was like, I really want to read this book. I've never cared about Beta Ray Bill. I never want to. I don't care. Do you think that it does something similar for The Thing?
100%, especially the way that like The Thing is motivated by romance, which I get. Like most of the characters that we see, especially in the latest Beta Ray Bill, it's like Beta Ray Bill's entire modus operandi, whatever, is like he wants to fuck Lady Sif. And so this one is definitely more motivated by romance, I would say, or maybe just a general wanting to do good. So I'm really enjoying The Thing. Like seriously, this is such an underrated book. Please pick it up and read it, even if you don't like The Thing, because I'm not a big fan, but I really love this.
I might have to. You're convincing me. You're convincing me.
And speaking of which, so the Beta Ray Bill trade did come out a couple weeks ago, and please go pick it up because it was one of the best reads of 2021.
I have to. I need it. Okay,
one last book. I hated it. I'm just kidding. I loved it.
Don't do that to me. I love this book. I loved it. I'm very conflicted though, for a lot of reasons. First of all, I'm pissed because I was wrong. I was ready to bet the whole house that it was Quicksilver. I was ready to bet the whole house. It was Quicksilver. It was not Quicksilver, y'all.
I was like, it's Emma Frost.
I was ready to bet the whole house.
So I really want to say really quick, spoilers. We are talking about the Trial of Magneto, and there will be some spoilers. Let me see if I can get a banner.
It's all spoilers. It's gonna be all spoilers. Oh god, how am I gonna talk about this book without crying? Because I know I'm gonna cry about it. Like I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I had a full-on panic attack reading this book. I really did. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, 100%. I had a panic attack about Trial of Magneto, number 5. I also should preface this that I spent the week rewatching WandaVision which I think kind of intensified my Wanda feelings right now. So we find out that Magneto did kill Scarlet Witch, right? Okay, so we find that out. And we find out that the reason why Magneto killed Scarlet Witch is because she asked him to. And as somebody who connects with Wanda the way that she does with all the mental illness crap, it depressed me. It really it makes sense why she would have done it, and in a way it feels romantic, especially with the outcome of it. But I really there's something about the idea that Wanda felt that the only way that she could be happy, and to not only be happy herself, but to make others around her happy, the fact that her only option was suicide, for lack of a better word, it hit me. It hit me in a way that I did not expect, and continues to hit me, and made me really, really sad, because I always joke, I'm like, I am fucking Wanda Maximoff, okay? If Wanda can't be happy, then I don't deserve to be happy. I know that sounds stupid, but listen, everybody has that one character that they resonate with, and for me, 2021 decided it's going to be Wanda Maximoff. That being said, with Wanda coming back, she is now the redeemer of mutant kind.
And not the pretender.
She's not the pretender. She's the redeemer. And it's absolutely beautiful to see her go through this. And it's basically their way of trying to retcon Wanda and everything she's done,
yes.
Which part of me kind of understands, because a lot of shit happened. And with WandaVision, Wanda is a very popular character. So I am hoping to God that I get a Scarlet Witch series going forward. Listen, give me a Scarlet... If you all put me through this much trauma, the least you can do is give me a Scarlet Witch series, please. That being said, with a very rough topic, a very heavy topic, I think Leah Williams handled it in the best way she probably could have. I really do.
I agree. And I think that after this series, because I know I've said it before, but I feel like you could read House of M. I would recommend reading some of the Hoxpox stuff, if not all of it. Read Hoxpox, figure out what's going on, and then, because a lot of what's going on in like Hoxpox and the post-Hoxpox X-Men stuff is that mutants can basically come back after they've died if they've had a backup. So 100% spoiler, because of Wanda's sacrifice that she went through this trial of Magneto, she helped basically bring back a backup of like any and all mutants that have ever been. And so now mutants that we guess maybe thought were lost to not having a backup can now come back because of Wanda.
Yeah.
And she does this because of everything that happens in House of M. I feel like all of mutant kind, all of the like Marvel universe hated Wanda. You see so much hate given towards her that they call her the Redeemer because she literally redeems all of that and like sacrifices that for the good of mutant kind. This book was so beautiful.
It was. It's basically, I wish this book was not called The Trial of Magneto. I understand why y'all did it. Y'all had to sell copies. You had to give us that hook. But I think that this book really should have been called The Rebirth of Scarlet Witch, or The Rebirth of even the life and death of Wanda Maximoff, something along those lines. Because this I did not expect this to be a Scarlet Witch book, y'all. I read this. No, I didn't. Okay. I bought 3 copies of issue number 1 because I'm psychotic. And I read issue 1. And this ended up being one of my favorite series, I think, of the year. I think this is easily in my top 5. Which is putting it high. I know me and John had a little bit of a conversation where we said that, the whole kaiju interlude thing kind of threw it off.
Necessary.
That being said, I agree. Part of it was and I wish that it was tied in a little bit more. But I think I'm reading comments. I think thinking about it in an overall arc and thinking that it was a part of Wanda and her emotions and knowing how Wanda is, and it was her emotions getting out of control, it makes more sense. I just wish it wasn't the whole issue. If it had just been a small part, it would have made more sense. But this is essential reading for Scarlet Witch at this point. It is.
Oh, 100%. Like read the Scarlet Witch series and then read that. Yeah. And then I would say also read Vision by
I would say read House of M, read Scarlet Witch by Scott Robinson, and then read Trial of Magneto, and those are the three Wanda books that you have to really experience.
Yep.
It was a very, very good book. That being said, Leah Williams, you owe me a box of tissues, some anxiety medication, a bottle of wine, and a weighted blanket, because I had a full-on goddamn panic attack when I realized what was happening.
Yeah.
So
Whew.
it's a heavy book. Definitely one of my favorites, though. One of my favorites that we've read recently. So,
agreed.
Y'all, I'm not a fake X-Men fan anymore. I read an X-Men event and
she's a real fake X-Men fan now.
A real fake X-Men fan. So, also, hi Greg. Oh, great segue, because we're going on to DC Comics. So since Greg is here, we have to talk about a certain book. That I have a lot of feelings about. It's time to talk about Wonder Girl number 6. Oh God. I don't want to say it out loud.
I have a feeling that you and I are going to have completely different opinions about this book.
Oh, here we go. Okay. I fucking hate Wonder Girl right now. I hate it. What the... First of all, this is gorgeous. And I love this. And it's frameable. What the fuck is going on with Wonder Girl right now, y'all? Listen, February... Let's take a recap. February 2021. The world is introduced to Yara Flor. She steps onto the scene. She is literally the most perfect, precious, cinnamon roll human being to ever exist. I am immediately obsessed. Greg is immediately obsessed. Half of the world is immediately obsessed with Yara Flor. March of 2021, we get Wonder Girl number 2. It continues to sell us that Yara Flor is the best DC comic character we have gotten within the 10 to 15 year time span. May of 2021, we get Wonder Girl number 1, and it's the moment we were all waiting for. And it was kind of cool. It wasn't great like Future State, but it was kind of cool.
And very weird.
We got delay after delay, and we got maybe an issue within a month, and then 2 months before another issue. And it felt like this was back to back to issue number 5. And at this point, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. I feel like Joelle Jones doesn't know what's happening. I feel like maybe this book is being rushed or tweaked because we have Trial of the Amazons coming up, and they need it to kind of coincide with Trial of the Amazons, because we see with this issue, it's literally shoving us into Trial of the Amazon. And it feels like this book jumps around from place to place. We have absolutely no time for character development. We have no time to kind of explain Yara Flor's actions. It feels like within the last 2 issues, we've kind of gotten her spunk back and the personality for the characters there again. But I don't know what is happening with the story. I need someone to explain.
The way that I read this, I really liked this issue. And the reason why is because this finally felt like Future State Yara Flor to me. Like, I feel like I could read those 2 issues and then jump into this and like, that's the Yara Flor that I've been waiting for. Where issues 1 through 5 didn't get anywhere. They were so slow paced, where this, maybe issue 5 and issue 6 finally picked up the pace for Wonder Girl. But there was a lot going on. Now that I like look back at issues 1 through 4 of Wonder Girl, there was a lot going on that didn't need to happen, where it could have just literally cut to issue 6.
It's too much. So with issue 6 in particular, first of all, I wanna commend, because Joelle Jones at this point is no longer doing the art. So for a while, I had theories that maybe the reason why we were getting really weird scheduling delays was because with Joelle Jones doing the writing and the art, maybe she couldn't keep up with the schedule. In which case, I totally understand.
Yeah.
However, we started getting half issues with Adriana Milone, and that art style didn't really fit with what was going on with Joelle Jones, because you would get this stark contrast between two. That being said, I could have swore that Joelle Jones was back on this issue, and it's not. It's actually, I believe it's Leliana De Luca.
Oh, Layla Del Duca.
Layla Del Duca. And first of all, their art is gorgeous. But at the same time, and I don't want to say this because I feel like it could come off as insulting, but they are doing the best Joelle Jones impersonation of their life. But that being said, their art is gorgeous. I feel like if you had Del Duca supplement Joelle Jones instead of Adriana Milone, it would make more sense. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But with issue 6 in particular, we are in Tartarus for all of 4 pages, and then all of a sudden she's just free. And I'm like, no, I would like to spend more time in Tartarus. We got this really gorgeous introduction to Persephone back in issue 3. Haven't seen Persephone since. Where did she go? What is going on? It makes me sad, because I'm gonna be honest, if I was not obsessed with this character the way that I am, and I was not co-host of the Yara Flor fan club, this book would have been dropped from my pull list at issue 2. It would have been dropped. But I feel like at this point, love has blinded me, and I continue to purchase this book over and over again until I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. So here's to hoping that maybe it will get better after Trial of the Amazons. But right now, your girl is not having a good time. I just want my girl to be free and to have fun and possibly be a little gay. But I mean, I feel like I'm stretching there. But
I want more Jerry.
I would like more Jerry. Yes, let's have more Jerry.
And I think that like the two characters, so Jerry, her horse, and her, like there's such a fun dynamic there, and that's why I really loved Future State Yara Flor. And then I really wish that this could have been a whole nother story, and I feel like I don't know why they felt the need to do an origin story like the first couple of issues, and it really didn't even get anywhere. Just give us Yara Flor, what we saw in Future State. Because I think the dynamic between her and Jerry is like where her personality comes out. And even like there's a moment in this book where she like gets dirty or something, and she's like, oh, like my outfit's dirty, I just got this new outfit or something like that. And you see her personality shining through, and that's what I need.
I need more. I don't know. Again, I'm going to continue to read it because I'm a sucker for punishment, but I'm not having, again, I'm gonna read it, but I'm gonna complain about it the whole time.
I'm gonna complain about it.
So yeah, not a good time. What other DC books did you read? Okay,
I got a lot of, so there's a lot of variant covers in here.
I think you might have more than I did.
One of the books that I didn't read, I know you read this one, but I'm not reading the series, but I literally only got this cover because of you.
Oh, fuck. You want me to go off on this? God fucking damn it.
Sorry.
I was trying to give you some time to shine before I...
Sorry.
Oh, all right.
I don't shine.
This is my favorite book that I read this week. This is my favorite book.
What should I know? So I know what happens in issue 1 because we get the Human Target, who is basically a guy who is going to...
He's basically a master of disguise, for lack of a better word. He's a master of disguise. So fun fact, Human Target, I did some digging. Human Target was like an old age DC comic, like Silver Age book. Very similar to like what Tom King does with books like Adam Strange and even Mr. Miracle. And that's one of the reasons why I really like Tom King, is because he takes these characters that nobody knows or nobody cares about and makes them modern and revamped and makes people care about them. So I really love that. I did read issue 2. And at this point, I think I'm just gonna have to say fuck it and subscribe to this book because I love it. So issue 2, we get introduced to Ice, who is she's a precious bean. If you don't know, I am part of the Fire and Ice fan club. I think I am the president of the Fire and Ice fan club.
You're like literally the only member.
So first of all, y'all, this is because of me. All right, I'm gonna say it. This is because of me, because I tweet very often about how much I love Fire and Ice. I tweet very frequently about how DC Comics needs to be doing something with these characters, and more specifically, how DC needs to make them gay, because they are very gay. If y'all ever read old Fire and Ice comics, they're very gay. Tom King always manages to find these tweets and likes them or comments on them or retweets them. So this is because of me, y'all. This is my doing. It's my Charlie Day fucking theory of the day. He put Fire and Ice in this book because of me. So in issue 2, we get introduced to Ice, and she starts teaming up with the Human Target man. I can't think of his name, but the Human Target.
Human Target man.
And at this point, there is a theory that the reason why Lex Luthor was poisoned, because that's the whole deal of this book, is we're trying to figure out who poisoned or who tried to poison Lex Luthor and who now has poisoned our Human Target because he, took the bullet for Lex Luthor. There is a theory that it is Fire who did it, because Fire loves Ice so much that she was devastated because, way back when, Ice died. And Ice died and was brought back as a god, and it was a very complex and long-running history with Justice League International, and then we saw a little bit of Gail Simone's Birds of Prey did it, but Fire was devastated, and Fire wants revenge now. So the theory is that Ice is that Fire, wanting revenge and loving Ice so much and wanting to protect Ice, is trying to kill Lex Luthor. And Ice basically shows up and decides to team up with the Human Target because she wants to prove that Fire would not do it. Why? Because Ice loves Fire and they're a little gay. So what makes issue 3 so great? Because issue 2 was good. Issue 2 was average and I enjoyed it. Issue 3 might be one of my favorite single issues in a long, long time. And it's
that makes me happy that I picked this up, but I have no intention of reading it. Is it based on Dune?
It is not based on Dune. However, this entire how do I say this without laughing and getting excited? So we've established, right? Your girl, I'm queen of the not queen, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase this. I am co-partnership of the Yara Flor fan club. I am queen of the Fire and Ice fan club. But you know what I'm also, queen or wife of? The Guy Gardner fan club.
Oh my god, you are. You're literally the only person I know who likes Guy Gardner.
This issue is all about Guy Gardner, baby. So, wow. So in issue 2, and even in the beginning of issue 1, we kind of see that there's some flirtatious stuff going on with the Human Target and Ice, right? Well, Guy Gardner gets wind of it, and Guy Gardner does not like that. So this entire issue is Guy Gardner stalking the Human Target and giving him grief, and is like, yo, you need to stay the fuck away from my girl. That is my girl. I grieved over her. I sat at her tombstone and cried over her. For you to come in and swoop up my girl, it's not going to happen. Like, I'm not kidding. Guy Gardner literally shows up at the end of this man's bed and is like, we got to have a talk. At one point, they're driving along, and Guy Gardner shows up in his green little convertible and is like, buddy, that's my girl. You need to back the fuck up because that is my girl. And it is just the most himbo king, testosterone-filled bullshit. There's even a part where the Human Target and Ice, they go and they meet with Booster Gold, who I also love. And they come out to find out that Guy Gardner has completely disassembled his car. And he's like, my dude, what part of that is my girl do you not understand? And this entire issue is literally just Guy Gardner giving this guy grief because his girl might be interested in somebody else. And he doesn't do it in like a toxic, abusive way. It's a very funny.
It sounds very toxic and abusive.
No, it's a very funny himbo type way where, because he's not doing it to her, he's doing it to the guy. And when Ice tells him to stop, he does back off. When Ice finally gets involved, and Ice is like, listen, I'm my own she's kind of, I don't want to say she's asking for it, but she's kind of egging him on. She's kind of egging him on. I'm not going to lie. But listen, if anybody ever wants a Guy Gardner recommendation, this is the book you read right here. Just read this book. So Tom King, if you're watching, because I know you're watching.
We know you're watching. Hi,
Tom. You're our biggest fan. Thank you so much. This book should be nominated. This single issue right here should be nominated for an Eisner. Okay, it was my favorite book in the fucking world. And
wow,
I loved this book so much. It was so good. Just read it because it's done in a funny way. It's a funny way. It's a funny way.
I may try to read it.
It's funny.
But only because I bought it because this beautiful cover. And I'm like, oh, it's Ice. Let me just go ahead and buy this cover. I didn't pick up issue 2. I may try to read it.
I want to buy 40 copies of this book just for the cover. And because of Guy Gardner.
Wow.
And because of Guy Gardner. So because this book was as great as it is, I'm adding this to my pool at this point. It's going on my pool, guys. I really like this book. It's really great. I love it. Guy Gardner for the win. Guy Gardner's the best. Listen, Guy Gardner is the best Green Lantern.
What if this is an art germ cover, right?
What if Guy Gardner gets an art germ cover?
What if they do like a bimbo, like art germ cover for Guy Gardner?
I'm looking now.
Please. I need like the little like boob thing, but for Guy Gardner, this little like boob curtain that's going on.
I love it. I love it so much. It's so good.
Oh my goodness. Were there, and you know what? I'm going to go ahead and segue into another Tom King book. And I'm just going to keep saying what I've been saying. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. I want to love so bad. Tom King just put so much into it.
I think it's funny that you're still reading it, considering I dropped it at like, what, issue 3?
Something like that. I'm really reading it for Bilquis Evely's artwork.
Oh, the God, artwork is so gorgeous.
Made me care about Supergirl. I really love how like kind of flawed of a character she is, but still so like not respectful, but so like she's on a mission and it's for the greater good. So I love that.
She's honorable. Is that the right word?
Yeah, but flawed. So I really like Supergirl a lot. I think I've read the Joelle Jones Supergirl, and I think that I like this better.
I'm sorry, what? You liked a Tom King book better?
Yeah.
Oh?
It's not done yet. It's got 2 more issues. But yes, 100%.
We did it, guys. We did it. We did it.
But Tom King, I'm coming for you because we're going to talk about Strange Adventures. And basically, if you tell me that you read Dune to do research, but the only like research that comes out of Strange Adventures that goes into it is really just that you base the picked people, the pixie people, off of the Fremen, and that's the only real connection that I can make. Sorry. Yes, I do really like this Tom King book. Okay. Did you read
maybe
Robin and Batman? Number 2.
Hell no, I did not. I didn't like the first one. No, I did not read it.
I liked the first one. In this issue, so it's done by Lemire and Dustin Nguyen.
Keep talking. I have to grab something.
Okay, so this is done by Jeff Lemire, Dustin Nguyen, which is the creative team behind Descender. It's a limited series. It's this is issue 2 of 3. So we basically get to see Damian Wayne hanging out with Batman, and in this issue, there is a lot more just kind of solid moments between him and Batman. Batman says, okay, let's go ahead and let's hang out with the Justice League. And so they go and hang out, and then basically Damian Wayne hangs out with all the other super kids in the book, but he does it kind of on the sly. So Batman's like, okay, we're going to go up on this spaceship and we're going to hang out with all the Justice League kids like Kid Flash and I can't think of everyone else, but he goes and hangs out and is basically like, okay, don't you kids go anywhere, and the kids go somewhere, and then Robin is basically Damian Wayne Robin is basically doing research on them. I'm very curious how this is going to end.
So is that Damian Wayne? Because the first book was Dick Grayson.
Sorry. It is. I apologize. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I've been reading, what was it, Batman and Son, which has Damian Wayne. So I'm
Batman and Son and Batman and Robin from Grant Morrison, which is the only Grant Morrison book I like, by the way.
Yeah. So I read that this week, but I love Grant Morrison. So anyways, this was a really good book. I can't wait for this one to finish up, but that's me. What other DC books do you have?
I have a couple. So I had to go and get something because it was hanging and I completely forgot that.
Was it like a thirst trap cover?
Oh, you know it's a thirst trap cover.
Is it this one?
It's no.
Oh, no. That one was for Robins, right?
No. This is the greatest comic book character of all time. Listen, so
I'm not even reading it.
So I've talked about it a couple times that I will be moving in February. Our plan is, it's kind of funny to talk about. We in our new apartment that we're getting, we have 2 bathrooms, and we're planning on making one of the bathrooms. I want to make it the public one. My partner wants to make it our private one. But the plan is to make our bathroom very horny and have a lot of thirst trap art. And this is being hung up in the new bathroom. I'm calling it the thirst trap bathroom. This is being hung up in the thirst trap bathroom. So I would like to thank the artist who did this for this cover, because it's the greatest thing. You even gave him the white streak. Like,
Robles?
This is the greatest comic book cover I've ever gotten in my entire life.
Yeah.
That being said, it wasn't a bad book. But I'll be honest, this book came out last week. I don't remember anything about it. So
wow.
This is Robin's number 2. Whereas with Robin's number 1, we got to see, there were some complaints, but I personally liked it, where we basically were introduced to all of our Robins. So we got little ideas, and little backstories for each of our Robins to kind of introduce people that may not have read these books, but maybe like the characters or are picking it up because of the characters.
And it's all of them together. Like, it's like the first issue was literally like, at one point they're all sitting around a table talking about, I was this Robin. I was this Robin. I was the one that Batman chose. I was the one, or like got recruited. I was his son. I was the first one. So I was the one that was only Robin for like a week.
Yeah, and I really like that. But in issue 2, I feel like we kind of lose some of that goofiness. And I feel like that's why I really, really liked number 1, is because we got to see a lot of the jokes between the Robins. We got to see the goofiness between them. We got to see them kind of act like a family. But in this issue, it just feels like an average Batman story. It feels like an average Gotham book. It doesn't have that extra fun that we get normally. I'm still reading it though, so there's that. And I really just whoever at the DC editorial team was like, I want to make all of the issue variants thirst traps for the characters, because with the first issue we got to see Dick Grayson very, very thirsty with Babs Tarr on the art. This one we see Jason Todd. You should get an award. You should get an Eisner for this editorial decision.
That's the only reason why I picked it. I wasn't going to pick up issue number 2. I did just for this cover.
Look at that. You could bake a whole cake for that. A whole fucking cake. A whole cake.
So, one of the other thirst traps that I got this week, or one of the last weeks, was Nightwing 87.
I didn't buy the thirst trap. I just bought the regular trap.
This issue was so good, and you can kind of see on the cover. So you get, I think what makes this issue really, really interesting is that each page is one panel, and the action goes through the page. Yeah.
So if you have the chance, and your local comic shop has enough of these, pick them all up off the shelf and just set them next to each other one by one, because this, I'm calling it right now. This is going to either win or at the very least be nominated for an Eisner.
100%. I mean, the series is great on its own.
It is, and Josue makes a good point. So with Nightwing 87, this is the return of the Nightwing book that we all love, because we saw with the
Fear State event.
Was it like the last 3 or was it 4 issues? I
think it was 3.
3 issues. It was all Fear State tie-in, and while they were actually decent for being what they were, that being a tie-in book, which we all hate, Tom Taylor did what he does best, and tried to ground the character. But he's back. He's basically back. We're carrying on with the story. So Dick Grayson has come out, in public, not as Nightwing, but he's basically come out and said, "Hey, I have all this money. Let's make a change." And obviously there are people that don't like that. So what do the people decide to do? They decide to kidnap his dog, which is a big no. So we see Dick Grayson, we see Barbara Gordon, both of them team up. And I like how this book is subtly like a Batgirl and Nightwing book. We kind of we get her sprinkled all throughout it, and I really, really love that. This we didn't say that we were doing, our top books of 2021, because this week has been so busy, and I'm sure at one point we're going to recap. Yeah.
Our top books of 2021 needs its own episode.
It needs its own episode, but I'm going to spoil number 1 for you right now for y'all. This is my book of the year, is Nightwing.
Wow. Okay.
Because as somebody who has loved the character as long as I have, this gave me everything I ever wanted from the character. This is what Dick Grayson and Nightwing represent. It is so good, y'all. Like, if you're not reading it, honestly, you could pick up on this run, because this is the quote-unquote second arc for Nightwing. So you could definitely pick up from here, but I highly recommend picking up volume 1, which just dropped last week. And what's really weird is DC's going back to doing hardcovers first and then paperbacks, where for the longest time they were doing paperbacks first and then hardcovers. And I'm gonna be honest, I wish they would go back to that, because I like paperbacks, unless they are big, heavy collected editions like Saga or some of the stuff Image does with Paper Girls. I don't like hardcovers. I prefer paperbacks. So if
they're a little bit cheaper,
they're cheaper. I can fit more on my shelves.
I do like the nice looking hardcovers because they look fancier. But sorry guys, I've got this big old cat who's I need to jump. Ah!
And we all just saw Jen's massive stack there, which is terrifying.
Terrifying, y'all. It's disgusting.
I'm gonna have nightmares now.
Okay.
I love this. This is my favorite part of the show, guys. I hope you guys enjoy this as much as I do. So yeah, Nightwing was fantastic. Was definitely one of my favorite books in the weeks that it came out, because at this point everything's blurring together.
All of it is. And one of my favorite things, so in this Nightwing book, what was it, in the Nightwing annual, we get a little Gail Simone moment. There's another there's another little poster in the background here that's Gail Simone G Simone definitely is it a polar bear?
I'm definitely not a bear. The G Simone Blood Feud show.
Yeah.
But speaking of because this is one of those books where there's a lot more play, I think, on the background than there is on the characters and some of the action. It's kind of insane because, we see pride flags. And I just love that, Tom Taylor's what if we made it gay for the kiddies? But we see pride flags and we see, queer couples, which I absolutely love.
Hanging out the window, in the background, which is kind of cool.
One of the ones that took me off guard, because there's a lot to see in the background. There is a little Black Lives Matter poster with Breonna Taylor. And I know people don't like it when their comics get political.
I love it.
I do. I love it. But I feel like that is something so subtle that for somebody that maybe doesn't care about the politics, they could overlook and still be happy. But for us, it's I like when comic creators use their platforms in small ways.
Yeah, and it doesn't, like, I think that some people see it, just whatever, see it, and are like, this affects the story. It ruins the story for me. Why do they have to make it political? And it's like putting it in the background, even though it deserves to be in the foreground. Putting it in the background shouldn't ruin your reading experience. Like, if you see a pride flag or like a rainbow in the background and you're like, ugh, they made it gay. Like, go outside, touch grass, people.
Touch grass. Also, Remy Q Studios, thank you so much for becoming a member. We appreciate you so much. And thanks for being a part of the Casually Comics crew.
Luna says thank you.
Luna says thank you. And that's the thank you that you should most want.
Yeah.
I think flipping from one, we're kind of on a trend here with Robins. Robin number 9 dropped. I thought this was going to be the end of the arc, but at this point, I am very confused still at if this is an ongoing, if this is a maxi series, because I keep telling myself, okay, after the arc, I think I'm going to drop it. And it just keeps going. It's like an Energizer bunny. It doesn't stop. It feels like a finale because we get this scary Lazarus Pit demon and Robin has to join up with all of the people that he's been fighting and kind of, utilize them as a team to kind of defeat the monster. We get this really emotional moment where, he's talking with the inner Alfred Pennyworth ghost monologue. And those moments are always my favorite in this book because, it's very emotional. But we finally get to see Damian kind of step up and become a leader like his father, which is really, really cool. And I really like that. And I think that the way that they made him step up as a team leader was better than when he was a team leader in Teen Titans Rebirth. So if you kind of felt like it was a lackluster thing in that book, then definitely check this out. It's not my favorite, but it's definitely not terrible. I think it's definitely one of the best representations of the character. And I feel like if you are a Damian Wayne fan, which you are now becoming, I think you would really 100%. Appreciate this.
So I know I mentioned it earlier, but I was reading some Grant Morrison this past week, and I'm like, I love Damian Wayne so much. It's a lot, you guys. Like, I'm becoming a Damian Wayne stan.
So Dick Grayson, no, that's a lie. That's a lie. Jason Todd is my favorite Bat fam boy. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin.
Okay.
Because to me, I feel like Damian Wayne being the son of Batman, I know that sounds stupid and traditional, but Damian Wayne being the son of Batman, it feels like it's the role that he has to take. And I like how we've seen him struggle with being this killer, more so in a way that we saw with Cassandra Cain and sort of becoming what he's supposed to become with this mantle. So
and I feel like because Damian Wayne is so young and he's already had like all of this trauma, but also has this like really big like chip on his shoulder that he has to bear. I'm going to bring it back to Dune. It reminds me of Aaliyah in Dune, who is born with like the prescience of like the thousands of lives before her, of all the Bene Gesserit like mothers before her. So she's born with this like prescience. So she's this little abomination who is, as a baby, it has all of these grown-ass adult thoughts and has to live with that. So anyways, I just feel like I see a lot of her in Damian Wayne.
Yeah, I love Damian. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like him, and to which I say, if y'all don't like Damian Wayne, y'all can kick rocks.
Yeah.
Because he's a precious little baby.
And he's a little shit, and I love that too.
He's a little shit. He's great. I love him. But yeah, that was Robin's number 9. I want this book to fucking end. I really do. And I'm not saying that is like a bad thing, but listen, as somebody who needs to cut their pull list, I need this book to end so I can cut it.
Yeah. One of the other books that I got, there was a second printing of this book, so I picked it up, so it doesn't really count for a read, but I did pick up the second printing of that. You're not reading Catwoman, right?
I'm picking up the covers. I am not reading it. I am psychotic.
It's good. It's Rom V, but
that's the final issue, isn't it?
I think there was going to be more,
I think
Don't
that's
tell me
his
that.
final issue, and I think Jodie Hauser's jumping onto it.
Oh, ooh, so I wouldn't mind seeing Jodie Hauser on this book, even though I really do love. This felt like the end of an arc, not the end of the series. So, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Next, the bat's out of town, so the cat's here to play. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the books that I feel like we're going to have very differing opinions on. I did not like this book.
I'm kind of in the same boat.
Okay, wow, weird.
Kind of in the same boat.
I don't know if it's just that I don't like Becky Cloonan with Michael Conrad writing together, but I feel like every time I read Cloonan on her own, I love it. Almost any time I read her and Conrad together, I'm like, I don't love it.
Part of me wonders if maybe I had too many expectations.
Yeah.
For this book. I'm not a fan of Jorge Corona on the art.
Oh, see, I didn't hate the artwork, but I felt like it didn't feel like a DC book to me. It felt like an Image book or Dark Horse book or something like that.
I'm not a fan of Jorge Corona on the art. I actually put this book off, and I did not actually read this book till morning. This morning. That being said, I've had this book since it dropped. I put it off because as I'm flipping through it and I'm looking through it, not only did the art kind of off-put me, but I was like, this is going to be a dense fucking book.
It was a dense book.
And it is a very dense book.
It did the thing that Kieran Gillen does that I hate, where it narrates and then they say what they're, like it has the speech bubbles and the narration bubbles, and it's just a lot. Like you literally open up this book and it's so busy. This book has so much going on, and it felt like, to me, I felt like this should have been more of like a young adult flavored book, but it just had so much going on.
I agree.
That my attention span wasn't ready for it.
I agree 100%. So first off, I was very lost with this book because I felt like I needed to read not only the little backup stories,
like this is the first page.
It's a very busy book. I was very lost with what was going on at some points because this kind of carries over from Fear State. And I was very lost because I did not read Fear State. And I don't think that should happen, especially with the Batgirls #1 book. Because let's be honest, there's going to be a lot of younger readers and a lot of female readers picking this up who damn well. I mean, maybe some of us did. But damn well the majority did not read the dumbass Batman event. Okay. Yeah. Second of all, I completely agree that this book should have been aimed at a more younger audience. I personally would have liked this book to have a Batgirl Burnside sort of feel to it. Mm-hmm. I feel like that was maybe my biggest complaint when Batgirl Burnside came out was this doesn't feel like a Barbara Gordon book. This feels like a Stephanie Brown type of book. And then when you have Cassandra Cain, who is polar opposites, I really like that. That being said, I do like some of the characterizations that we see in Batgirls. I really like the relationship between Cassandra and Stephanie because you have Stephanie, who's kind of this loudmouth asshole, and that's why I love her. And you have Cassandra Cain, who's more quiet and more reserved, but she's kind of got that violent side in her.
So they play well off of each other. Like I like that, and it did remind me of like Robins, where they're kind of like comparing each other to one another, but it was a lot.
They have a very, very good dynamic. But yeah, no, like you said, it's a lot going on. I know for a fact I definitely will not be picking up future single issues. I may read this by trade when it's compiled. That being said, I'm going to offer a word of advice. If you want more of this, or maybe you want more Stephanie Brown, please read the Stephanie Brown Batgirl collection, because it ended up being one of my favorite books last year that I did not expect and really made me fall in love with the character. And the Stephanie Brown Batgirl collection, while it does focus on Stephanie Brown, there is also a lot of emphasis on Barbara Gordon as well. So if we just slid Cassandra Cain in there, you'd basically have this book but better.
Ooh, okay. So Officially Unofficial says, I want to choose violence involving DC versus vampires. My violence is I read the first issue, hated it so much, and I just can't pick it up.
Same. Same.
And
Although
it's like
I fucking heard that apparently the newest issue is very heavy on Black Canary, and I'm like, you motherfuckers, you know I'm not reading it, but you're gonna do this shit. And
they're trying to get you.
They're trying to get me because I know Matthew Rosenberg is like Black Canary is the one character from DC he really, really likes. He even wrote a single issue for the Black Canary mainline title back in 2017 or whatever. So I know that's like a character close to his heart. So of course you're going to emphasize her greatness, but it's not enough to make me read the book.
Yeah. What other did you read? Nubia. Have you been following this?
I actually forgot to read issue 3. Okay. I've been really enjoying Nubia, but it's been busy. I forgot issue 3.
Yeah. So it's only a 6-issue series, and I feel like the action is like really starting with this. So I'm really curious how they're going to wrap all of it up. I've really been loving what Williams and Ayala have been doing. Vita Ayala have been doing. I think part of me wants to wait until like the trade comes out because I feel like it'll be one good massive read as opposed to like single issue by single issue. But
I will say this. One of the things I really like about Nubia is I love the passion behind it from the creators.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love the passion, seeing them talk on Twitter about how much they love this character and so happy they are to bring this character that's literally been around since the 80s and give this character development, personality, becoming an actual character rather than just being like, oh, here's a Black Amazon who's also Wonder Woman's sister. Okay, great. But can I have more information on that, please?
But they're really giving her so much agency and giving her like it's really her. And I love that they're also going into like this mythos of like Wonder Woman without Wonder Woman really being there.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been pretty great. I only have one book left.
I have 2.
Oh, what's your 2?
Okay. So I'll save the one for the one that you have.
Oh, I know which 2 you have. Okay, Jen's gonna be very mad at me, y'all. I'm just gonna sit here like this.
I know, because you break my heart. I know you don't. I know you hate Swamp Thing.
I opened it and I looked at it and I'm like, not the book for me. How was it? Did you like it? Was it everything you hoped for? I know it's not Rom V, but did you enjoy it? Oh no!
I know this is a really
whoa. So if you didn't enjoy it, why am I getting shit for not picking it up?
So I really, really wanted to like this book, and maybe it's just because there were parts of this book that I really, really liked. Let me preface that. But I feel like we don't get the real and maybe it's because it's a limited series so we can't like draw it out, but I feel like we're getting this really emotional story with Rom V's Swamp Thing. And so Jeff Lemire I think does really great emotional stories, but it's like it reminds me of parts of Cloud Atlas in a weird way where it's like post-apocalyptic, which I thought would be cool. Anyways, the only part that I really like about this Swamp Thing, I don't like the artwork very much, but the thing that I do love about it is that we get to see old man John Constantine. That is literally the only redeeming factor. That is the only redeeming factor that I liked about this book. I still will continue picking it up because I love Swamp Thing. I love Jeff Lemire. I love John Constantine. But I did not like this. I did not like this book.
Oh no.
And maybe it's just because we got Swamp Thing in Future State and then it led into the Rom V Swamp Thing and that's just doing fantastic things. Didn't like this.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. Sorry folks. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it.
I think you secretly hated it. You just don't want to admit you hated it.
I love old man John Constantine. Because it's
but is that enough to make you love the book?
No. Nope. And I feel like the reason why I didn't love this book was because it was very much not about Swamp Thing. I will give it that. It wasn't as much about Swamp Thing as I needed it to be.
That makes sense. Okay.
So. Okay. My last book, and I think it's your last book.
It is. Oh.
Yawn.
It is.
What did you think of this book? This is also another 3-issue limited series, but this one's done by Cliff Chang, and he does the artwork and the writing.
All right, let me preface it. Catwoman Lonely City #1. I fucking loved. I was like, oh, book of the year. What is this? This is fantastic.
It's what Batman Catwoman should have been.
It's what Batman Catwoman should have been. It was like the first Catwoman book in a long time where I'm like, I'm invested and I'm interested and it's great. This book felt like it took forever. Like I was reading it and I'm like, it's
very busy.
It was the Energizer Bunny all over again. It was going and going and going and going and going. I didn't hate it. But I did not love it the way that I loved the first issue.
Yeah.
I didn't love it the way I loved the first issue. That being said, this fucking Catwoman design, yo man, that's hot girl shit. Like Cliff Chang.
That's hot girl, 100%.
Cliff Chang, I will say this. His character designs are stunning. We take a look at Wonder Woman by, Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chang, that book. It was a very bad book, but Cliff Chang and some of his designs are fantastic, and he has done probably my favorite Wonder Woman design with his Cliff Chang armor thing. So he's great on that. I also really like seeing Old Man Killer Croc.
Yeah, but dressed up as like a hipster teenager.
I love Old Man Killer Croc. I think that so there's this part in the book. I actually just turned to this, so I'm actually glad because I wouldn't have thought to talk about it until now. There's this part in the book that is a little jarring to me.
Here,
that Batman 66 and the outfit from Batman 66 is canon. I don't like thinking about that. I mean, we don't know if it's canon because this is a Black Label book, so who knows? But this kind of took me out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially because Catwoman has so many iconic costumes. It's like you could have picked from any single one, and you picked that one, which I don't think is very good to begin with. I mean, it was good for what it was on the TV show, but it's not good for in the comics. However, we do get introduced to Poison Ivy in this book. And I did see officially Unofficial Geek say that they love seeing plus size Poison Ivy, which hello. Like I'm here for it. Hello.
Yeah.
That being said, why are Poison Ivy and Catwoman very friendly? Because the last time I checked, in all of the Catwoman books that I've read and Gotham City Sirens that I've read, Poison Ivy can't fucking stand Selena. Like, she hates Selena to no fucking end. Like, they are basically frenemies. Like, I feel like the only reason why these two characters team up is because of Harley Quinn, and Harley's like, all right, guys, you gotta get along. You gotta do it.
Yeah.
The way that she's characterized in this book feels very out of character for me and very out of place. Especially, too, because she's willingly working with people. And we have seen from past books that Poison Ivy hates people.
Yeah.
Doesn't she kind of want to eradicate the human race so that way plants can take over and leave? And,
which, same girl, same.
I totally get that. And I totally resonate. And I think that's why you're a great character. But that might be one of the reasons why I didn't like this book as maybe I'd like the first one, is because it felt very awkward in certain places. There's also this really awkward place where, people are rebelling and they're using Catwoman as a figurehead for that rebellion. And it's very weird. And I don't understand that.
It felt like all of us, and once again, maybe it's because it's a limited series, but it felt like if people are going to do that, there should have been more build up to it. And it's all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But officially, unofficial, yes, in the recent Catwoman, and especially with the Fear State, and you do see that relationship with them come together a little bit more. Yep.
Oops, I didn't read that because I don't read events. Oops.
No, but you should be reading Catwoman.
I literally have every single issue of Catwoman since it came out.
Yeah, because of the covers.
But I've never. I mean, I read the first 7 issues and I really enjoyed it, but I'm just a dumb bitch who likes Catwoman, as you saw from Comic Gories.
Yeah,
my collection. John, we should have a Comic Gories episode where it's just Catwoman, and then I can really win.
I still really like Lonely City. I think that when the collected issue comes out, I'll 100% buy the collected hardcover, because this book really is beautiful. I think that, like I said, it's what Batman Catwoman by Tom King should have been. But
I will say this: I was definitely that person when DC Black Label was announced and they were doing these oversized books. I'm like, why? Like, simple as that. Why do we need this?
Yeah.
However, Wonder Woman Dead Earth, Catwoman Lonely City, Wonder Woman Historia.
Mm-hmm.
The more and more I'm like, I really like these large format books. Like, I kind of like these magazine style books. I'm really enjoying it. And I think it leads to some really interesting and unique storytelling. And we've seen other companies start to kind of do this oversized format.
Aftershock
has been doing it. I think Boom had one. I'm honestly surprised Marvel has not jumped on the bandwagon.
Ooh, do you think we'll see that from Marvel?
I don't know.
I think that it would have to. I think it would. I think it would also have to be for like a really big, not a big story, but like a limited series, kind of like how they did with and I know that he did Wonder Woman Dead Earth, but the way that Beta Ray Bill was done, I would say something like that would work really well. Or if they did do like the giant size X-Men type stuff. So if they did like X-Men books,
Grand Design.
Yeah.
That would have been really cool in a large style format.
Well, that did get the large style format, but
this is definitely one of those I have eaten my words because I thought magazine formatting was stupid, and now I'm like, I kind of like it, even though it's more expensive.
When it comes to magazine, I need resealable magazine bags, because I get the resealable ones for my regular comic books and I get them for like modern and silver, but there are none that I've seen so far resealable magazine bags, so that's what I need. If someone knows where they're at, tell me, because I don't like to use tape
too much. But that's all the comics I have, y'all.
That is all. That
was 3 weeks worth of comics, and it was a lot. I don't know.
That was a lot,
but I'm starting to feel a little winded.
Right? There was a lot of good stuff. There was a lot of stuff that didn't like. There was not too much that I absolutely hated and wanted to throw across the room. There wasn't any
violence. I feel really weird that there was no violence in our Returnal episode and our first episode of 2022. Does that mean is this a sign that 2022 is not going to be as violent as 2021?
Is this character development for us?
Is it? It might be.
Well, it is the 2.5 mark now. I do want to go ahead and say thank you to everyone who did super chats. Really appreciate you. Thank you to everyone who signed up to be members. If you didn't catch us talking about it throughout the show, for $3.99, if you go to the channel page, so if you go to like the YouTube page, you can go and say like join or like membership, something like that. I haven't been able to find it on like how to do it on mobile, but I've for sure seen it on like when you're searching on a computer, or if you're browsing YouTube on a computer. So if you'd like to become a member for $3.99, you can get us talking about comic books. I mean, we're here every week, but you can get special little like membership icons that we're working on, and maybe special little shows.
We're gonna have special little emojis that you guys can use. Because hashtag hear me out is gonna come out. And
of course,
we got to have one for the dumb bitch money.
Bitch money.
Special icons and emojis will be coming. I'm hoping to get the majority of those done within the next month, maybe week. We'll see. And just more fun content, basically.
More fun content. I can't wait to. I'm not promising it because it's a lot, but I'm definitely going to try to read 1,000 graphic novels this year. Which is a lot. I'm also going to try to read a big chunk. I'm going to try to read everything from Uncanny X-Men this year and talk about it. So we'll see. So hopefully we'll be able to get more of that here.
Maybe.
Okay.
Hoping. Here's to hoping.
Here's to hoping. Here's to 2020 to be read.
Here's to the second year of Casually Comics.
Ooh, second year of Casually Comics. Gruesome Twosome. The Terrible Twos.
Terrible Twos.
Whew. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I'm going to go ahead and play us out. Mars, thank you for being here. I love you, and I love everyone in the chat. I hope you have a great day. Bye.
Bye.